And hello again, everyone. It's great to be back here. Now we have me and Urazi here with both of our webcams this time, which is a nice change.
Yeah, no MS Paint this time, unfortunately, but we'll have to do with what we have.
I'm sure it'll do. But okay, so coming into today, we are going into the last two matches before our grand finals later on today at 4 o'clock CET. And today's match we're going to cast first is between Space PB and Polar Chickens. Now, Urazi, what do you think of these two teams from yesterday?
Well, I watched both these teams play, and they excel in very different ways, I'd say. I didn't watch as much Space PB, but I watched a lot of Polar Chicken. And Polar Chicken really showed that they, as a team, know how to play together. And they don't necessarily need to stick to the meta, as long as they can execute what they're trying to do well. Is there any standout performance you saw from them?
From Polar Chickens, I've got to say, I think Valortrix was doing pretty well on the McCree. They managed to get quite a few, quite big stuns off, from what I remember. But I've got to say, the biggest standout from these two teams overall has got to be Arcane Haze on the Reinhardt from Space PB. I'm not sure if you watched the Kings Row match that they played, but they played extremely well, and there was a lot of aggression coming out that no teams could deal with.
Yeah, very interesting. And it seems like we're starting out on Lijiang Tower here. We're starting on Control Center. What do you expect from these two teams on Control Center?
So I'm expecting a typical kind of brawl. Control Center is quite well known for having a Mei, Junkrat, Symmetra, along with the Ryan Zaya, Lucio, and then pick your choice of main healer. So I'm expecting Arcane Haze to come out on the Reinhardt here, start swinging in the backline, and just ruin all of the ruin the backline of Polar Chickens.
Yeah, definitely. Thinking of the teams and how they play, is there any specific comps or specific adaptations you're expecting to see here?
So I'm hoping that Polar Chickens will find a way to counter the pure aggression coming out from Arcane Haze. They're currently locking in the Junkrat, which I think is quite a good idea, along with the Sombra maybe. Okay, so just the Junkrat, which can hopefully spam down Arcane Haze and stop him from getting into the backline immediately.
Yeah, definitely. Space PB is definitely gonna have to try to hold this control center here with the Mei wall and just spam them out. But both teams are meeting here. Both the Ryans walking up here. Early Mei wall coming up. Junkrat mines flying out. Inside Space PB getting control of this high ground early. But Space Chicken, they get to control a point, get the first pick onto the Junkrat. And they're just slowly trickling in. The teams are just split. The Ryan barriers are dropping from both sides. Mei wall comes in, not really splitting them. Walls coming in from both sides, but it seems like it's Polar Chicken that gets this little cut, but a huge charge coming out, another pick coming out here. It's just chaos here, both teams running into each other. Split fight, split people, everyone focusing their own targets here. No coordination to speak of.
Yeah, there's very little coordination going on at all. Arcane Haze actually got trapped off by Stella's Mei wall, their own team, which was detrimental to them there.
Yeah, definitely, but as we're talking, Polar Chicken still has the cap, but they're getting these staggers in. All charges are coming in from both sides. Very early grab, very early coalescence pick coming in from both sides. Seems like it's gonna be a swap for Space PB.
Yeah, and that was honestly one of the most chaotic first fights, and we're still getting the cleanup going on now.
Yeah, it seems like Polar Chicken is not gonna stand down. They're just gonna come in saying, we have percentage. And they're just trying to put this Mei wall up, just trying to stall them as much as possible, but they're already in. This Ryan really aggro, really wants to get the shot, really wants to get this ults up. Tire coming in, McCreel coming in. Tire finds two with another pick. It seems like it's gonna be a very fast fight for Polar Chicken, just clean up from here.
Yeah, absolutely right. We've got a late Junkrat tire coming out here, probably not going to get much, or anything useful at least. Yeah.
Unfortunately, no, that's yet another ult thrown away that they're not going to be able to use next fight, but...
Yeah, I think that was a chaotic fight, and I imagine we're going to see the same kind of thing here, as we're still waiting for the DPS to come back from one side.
Yeah, definitely. Early amplification matrix here, trying to just spam them up, but they're all just hiding, so that goes a little bit of waste.
We should see a speed boost in here from Viper to get Arcane Haze into the backline.
Shatter gets cancelled, but a huge May ult coming out there. A lot of ult coming out there to stall the Rhine, but it seems like ultimately it's gonna go to Space PB and just clean up from here, it would seem.
Yeah, absolutely. That was just an extremely aggressive push. We're seeing the cleanup here. Valortrix are going around the outside of the McCree, probably going to get killed here by the Moira and the Lucio. There we go. And it was just extreme aggression coming out. Viper sped boosted them in, the Mayot came out, and Arcane Haze did a beautiful cancel on the Shatter of Avacron with their charge, which was, again, quite aggressive, a little bit risky, but it always seems to work out for him. Not sure how.
Yeah, if it works, don't fix it. But here we're gonna have grabs from both teams coming here. We're gonna see how they're gonna utilize. Who's gonna throw them out first? Seems like they're gonna throw them out at the exact same time. But Maxim's grab is so much fatter here. Finding 3 picks already, throwing in the McCree just for good measure.
Yeah, I think the main issue there was, so both teams got grabbed at about the same time, but Arcane Haze went for a fast strike a little bit later, and that allowed Maxime to throw the high charge Zarya right clicks into the grab and get some picks with all the spam damage going in.
Yeah, definitely. The Lamp and the Baptiste came out there too, stopping them from dying in the grab. Really well played by him. But now it's gonna be hard to push into them. Early Tire coming out, they were actually just trying to buy time, not letting them get the poke, forcing them into a one fight or nothing situation, and find 2. Absolute devastation.
Yeah, and that's going to leave them 5 seconds to try and get back to point as quick as possible, so we're going to need to see some stall picks coming out here from Space PB.
Yeah, as you say that, that's exactly what's happening. We have this Doomfist that's rolling out the side while the main team is brawling. Are they gonna be able to touch? It seems like they are. 1 pick coming out for the Doomfist, but as the beat comes out, it's gonna be hard to try to find anything more. Just Polar Chicken, just destroying everything on point.
Yeah, that was extremely well played from Polar Chicken. They countered the aggression of Arcane Haze with their own aggression, and it was beautifully done just to kind of put Arcane Haze on the back foot in all of those fights.
Yeah, definitely. It's exceptional play from both teams, but it seems like Polar Chicken just knew how to play the comp a little bit better, and it showed there in the end.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with that.
So now we're here. What do you expect to see here on Lijiang Tower?
Well, I would expect to see some kind of maybe a typical meta comp, seeing a Brawl, seeing a Bull, seeing a Winston, probably some Echoes coming out as well. We've seen Viper on the Lucio in dive as well as a Mercy, so I think that could be either one from Space PB.
Yeah, we've seen some adaptation from both teams on the meta. We've seen, instead of the standard 2-4 split, we've seen some 3-3 split. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how they play it here. It's like Space PB are going with the standard 2-4, while they're just a normal dive from Polar Chicken. Echo just trying to get some damage in, sticking the Zarya, but that bubble is gonna deny a lot of that. Not really a lot of happening here, not a lot of staging, with the D.Va mech falls very early here from Star 1.
Yeah, that was honestly a really nice early pick to get the baby D.Va there. And Viper's now down as well. That's both supports down.
Yeah, definitely. The Echo here from Polar Chicken really putting in the work here.
And as soon as you see the Mercy down, there's such a small amount of healing coming out for Space PB. There's not much they can do to keep their tanks and their DPS alive.
Yeah, definitely. The ball here from Space PB is really gonna buy more space because they're just running into brawling each other. This is not what should be happening with this comp. The ball and the Trisha should be buying time in the backline so that they focus them and the poke can just poke them out. Something like that is happening now. Echo just getting free damage and there's a lot higher chance that Echo's gonna find a pick.
Yeah, but again, the D.Va gets demeched because the ball's not taking enough aggression. They're moving out quite quickly, I think.
Yeah, the ball is not really committing to the play, you're right about that. But then again, if the ball stays too long, it might get bursted. It's potentially just D.Va being too aggressive here. But Rally coming out here as they push forward, trying to get this little ult charge here, try to clean up. The D.Va goes into her mech but loses half her health. That's so much ult charge going in a Polar Chicken. It's 5 ults up here, just a huge deficit in the ult economy.
Yeah, and there's not much to really counter it on the side of Space PB because they don't have the Transcendence up yet, so Hodo really needs to work on that.
Yeah, he got it now. What kind of ult combos do you expect to come out here from Polar Chicken in these fights?
So I would definitely expect the Nano Blade here, quite a typical thing. Or we could see the Nano going on to someone else.
We see a Graf coming out and the ball put it in mind to try to save himself, but it's not enough. Trance is being used as a desperation play here. Pulsepunk trying to find anything as the Echo copy comes in. Blade is being pulled out and just a naked Blade. The Nano onto the Monkey. It seems
The
like
Nano on the Monkey there's not the most efficient use of that Nano.
maybe not. Maybe that was a bit of a misplay by the Ana, but even as this play ends, Polo Chicken are ahead and they are still up in ults. It's just desperation stalls here. Mercy Valk and just ball on point trying to get a res. Diva Bomb coming in to try to save the day, but it's not enough. A res comes in, but the picks are not happening. I don't see a lot of blue in the kill feed, unfortunately. We're gonna have to see a lot of blue in the kill feed. If right now it's just a Polar Chicken show, they're just focusing down these targets. Absolutely killing the Maxim here with really high charge, just beaming down everybody.
Yeah, and I think as we see these cleanups, I think the main issue here for Space PB is they try to adapt to the meta, but it looks like they're not obviously practiced on it, unfortunately.
Yeah, it seems like they have this rudimentary idea of how it should be played. They probably got a VOD review, a coaching session or two. But it seems like they haven't quite adapted, haven't found their own spin on it like other teams yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's definitely the aspect of that where it's quite important for the team, if they're going to try and play the meta, to play the meta in their own way. And that was a really nice play of the game there with that double kill at the end of that fight. It allowed the team to recuperate and it staggered the deaths a little bit for them.
Yeah, definitely. But I saw about what I expected from Polar Chickens. They seemed like the team that doesn't necessarily need to play the meta, but they have their own comp on lockdown and just say, if you want to play the meta, fine. We have our own comp. We've practiced against your comp. We have shown time and time again that we know how to play against your comp.
Mm-hmm. And you said that yesterday as well. As long as you can play your comp better than the enemy can play the meta comp, it doesn't matter because you know how to play your comp so well. And that is what we see time and time again from this team.
Yeah, definitely. Polar Chicken really showing that they know what's up, they know how to play. So we're gonna have to see some adaptation from Space PB. They can't necessarily keep playing this comp, or at the very least, they can't play it the same way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'd quite like to see them back on the Brawl, personally, because I think that is where they are their best. And if they can choose maps for the Brawl, which is what we're seeing here, potentially a King's Row coming out yet again. I am expecting them to go the Brawl here and to attempt to put all the resources into Arcane Haze and push forward.
Yeah, so Arcane Haze is a bit of a carry on the Space PB then.
Yeah, I've got to say, I think Arcane Haze has a lot of resources put into him in order to carry. Every single resource possible, with this, from the speed boost to the Maywalls to the Xayah bubbles to the nano boosts, they are all ensuring that Arcane Haze survives enough to get all the damage out, to pull a Shatter out twice a fight. But if that doesn't happen, like we saw in those in those 2 rounds there, then they're not going to win. So I'd like to see them push that a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, I see that definitely. And Space PB, from what I saw at least, I didn't really see any carry members on their team. It's not necessarily that they're all performing really well and they don't need anyone to individually pop off, but the way it's going, they're really going to have to focus on giving someone the most resource and really enabling someone to do a lot of work. And as you say, we're probably going to see that from Arcane Haze.
Yeah, I would expect that, but I'm sure that if any of the members of Polar Chickens watched the matches from yesterday, they'll be expecting it, so they'll be able to counter it.
Yeah, definitely. But you said the Brawl is more than likely going to happen here. It seems like we're getting a restart here, but that's fine.
Yep, that seems to happen. I think we had that a couple of times yesterday where King's Row just likes to bug out a little bit, but there's no issues with that.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just another day in Overwatch, the bug-free game.
Oh, absolutely. Blizzard's a small indie company. It happens. It's fine.
Yeah, it happens. They had to, they had to merge with Activision. And now it's Activision Blizzard, so hopefully they're going to get a little bit more funding now, but we'll see how that goes for them.
So, are you expecting any kind of cheese to come out from on the side of Polar Chickens at all? Because I think Space PB will stick with the Brawl.
Space PB will most likely stick with the Brawl, yeah. As you say, if it's something they know how to play, and it plays into their favor, it's probably something they're gonna play, but I feel like Polar Chicken wants to, well, I wouldn't say flex as much as they want to show their mastery of different comps. As we can see here, the Widow pick maybe just to stall, but I see the Symmetra and I'm thinking Symmetra Bastion.
And we've seen this a couple of times in the tournament already from a few teams, and it does seem to kind of put some defense teams on the back foot. So it'd be exciting to see if that can happen again.
It does look like it's happening, especially with the Sigma early on, but I think the anti-nade hits early, that's 5 extra percent. They're gonna have to pull this out fast before the enemy team can react to it, but they're taking so long. They can just press tab by now and already know what's happening with the Bastion, it gets in. All this space is being bought. And they're just forced to rotate out.
Yeah, it's a typical kind of thing we see with this Bastion comp. The team will wait around the side of Hotel and maybe give a tick or two, and then start to contest and try and win the fight on point.
Yeah, but what is a Space PB ever supposed to do against this?
So you would imagine they could rotate underneath statue, make it difficult for the Bastion to do any damage, but they're not doing this at all.
No, they're not doing this at all. They're just standing in the elbows of the Bastion, barriers dropping. You can see the Bastion is just having a field day here.
Yeah, the Valortrix must be enjoying this a lot right now because it's so easy for him to just spam the point, and that fight was over before it started, I think, because there was no reaction from Space PB.
Yeah, definitely, and a really good play here from Polar Chicken, walking up far so the payload can push for free a really long distance.
Yeah, as long as you can get it past this archway, it makes the entirety of this second point a lot easier to get. So once you see them push up with the Symmetra, that's it. And we see the Valortrix switch over to the McCree, which is more of the standard pick that we'd see here on Streets phase.
Yeah, we still have the Symmetra here, but I'm expecting that just because they have the wall.
Yeah, and that's a really nice early pick out there from Avacron.
So much ult being used here just to push up, not having to waste barriers, and a big shatter here just for the cleanup.
And I don't think that really even counts as a fight, because as soon as Viper got killed with that fire strike, that was it. There was no speed boost for them to get out, and Space PB could just, Polar Chickens could just walk up onto them and win the fight easily.
Yeah, Polar Chicken really doing a really good job here of just letting the cart push for free here with Anna. Just by Ryan taking this really aggressive hold here. They have to fight them, and as they fight them, they can just slowly back out, but they're not gonna back out. When the Ryan gets anti, when the Ryan gets fire strike and just sped onto, the payload's being pushed for free, and we have 6 minutes almost to push this third point.
And with 6 minutes, you'd expect this easily.
Yeah, definitely, and the picks are not stopping. It seems like a very well-oiled machine here coming out from Polar Chicken.
Yeah, this is the perfect counter to the aggression that we usually see from Arcane Haze. He's not had a single shatter yet, and they're already on to third point.
Yeah, definitely. They seem to recognize that he might be a carry potential, he might be in the win condition for Space PB, but if we just put all these resources on them, a bit of an unfortunate accident here, finding another pick, and they're gonna have to back out, and on third point is where Space PB is gonna get hold again.
Yeah, and we see an attempt at a shadow there, and we're going for the nano to stall some picks out.
Yeah, it's a great block, but it seems like picks are still coming out from both sides, even with the ult, but it seems like ultimately Space PB have had enough and said we're gonna win at least one fight before this map is over, and we're gonna snowball this defense for the rest of these 5 minutes.
And we've seen this from them before in other parts of the tournament. As soon as you get to this final point, it's so much more brawly, and it's a lot easier for them to win out on their Mei Rhine comp.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be a bit harder for Polar Chicken to push into them, especially into this ult disadvantage. But they disengage from this Mei ult very well. And Arcane is yet again just anti-naded here. Desperation Beat just trying to buy him time. McCree ult here too, just trying to do everything they can just to buy time to disengage. It even finds a pick here. But
that was a really nice pick, and that's a big shatter.
Yeah, even with all the hero plays from the Lucian, the McCree just trying to buy time, it's not enough of the shatter is absolutely fat from Abercrombie.
Yeah, and I think it was that McCree ult that created so much space, and they just managed to push up through past it. It was brilliantly played. As soon as that McCree ult was down, they just pushed aggressively.
Yeah, but a bit of a flank coming out from the Ryan here. Finding a few people in the background, but that lamp comes out, not gonna find everything, unfortunately. Grav comes out from both teams, trying to just find picks, but Abercrom just swinging like a madman, killing everything and everyone.
And I think that was a masterclass of a round. That's unfortunate Ark and Hayes doesn't manage to get to the point, but it was a masterclass there from Polar Chickens to show how you don't have to fall down to a carry Reinhardt.
Yeah, definitely. Just the superior team play. Just as long as the team plays properly, as long as these plays are made. Like, you might watch this and think that Evercrom did everything on the team, but it was these anti-nades, it was these Zarya bubbles. It was the speed boost and the damage from the DPS that really set this up. There's no one individual player that just carried the match.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. It's the anti-nades, I think, are the biggest thing there. As soon as the Zarya bubble gets used early on the side of Space PB, that's when the Ana of Polar Chickens throws out an anti-nade, gets Arcane Haze anti, and then that's it. If the Reinhardt can't be healed and can't be bubbled, they're probably dead. And we've seen that time and time again on that attack.
Yeah, definitely. Exceptional placement of those. And just the general damage coming in from the Zarya too, really making the difference.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm quite excited to see if that Sombra pick stays, because I think the Sombra here could try and help that, to help kind of stop the Zarya bubbles and from the Reinhardt shield from being around. It allows Arcane Haze a lot more space.
Yeah, with the pressure in the backline, just alleviate some pressure from the front line. Just, oh, there's a Sombra in our backline, we can't push up as far, we can't just swing at the Rein.
Yeah,
it seems like the Zarya is gonna get cut off, unfortunately. Just found very early.
Yeah, that was unfortunately quite an aggressive push from the Zarya. I'm not sure if they were waiting for Arcane Haze to catch up or anything there, but once you get caught off by that Mei wall, it's difficult to break it quick enough to escape, especially when you're low charge.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't expect that. It's very common for Meis to set their walls up there. Just definitely learn from that and not make that mistake again. And they're pushing forward as a team this time. Zarya lagging a little bit behind, but Polar Chicken has control of this point with the Baptiste on the high ground. It's going to be very hard for the Sombra to get to that Baptiste.
Yeah, and as soon as they get there, the Baptiste can drop and then can jump back up there easily enough as well.
Yeah, definitely. The Sombra in the backline, you're trying to get a hack, but it just gets absolutely melted. And now it's a 5v6. Big charge from the Rein, finding a pick on the Lucio. It's a 1-for-1. Now it's a 2-for-1. Arcane Haze still making space. Not trying to go in, but a big anti-nade, big headshot from the Mei here. It seems like the fight is ultimately still gonna go in Polar Chicken's favor, even though the picks.
Yeah, it was really nice space created by that Sombra because it caused the Zarya and the McCree to turn around and try and deal with her. But Space PB didn't really capitalize on it enough, I don't think, there.
Yeah, not really enough. A Shatter coming out there, Nano on the right, but the counter Shatter is a lot bigger here, frozen. Even though he's Nano, does not find the right amount of value, eventually he drops. McCreel coming out there trying to buy some time. Ultimately, it's just yet again a win for Polar Chicken.
Yeah, and that was just again a really nice, quite slow play there. They didn't go too aggressive. They let Arcane Haze charge in aggressively, attempt to shatter the mist, and then they countered it. As soon as all the resources had been put out, they froze Arcane Haze up, and then killed him nice and slowly. It was a really nice play.
Weird stat I'm looking at here is we're 2 minutes in and the Sombra still doesn't have EMP yet.
Yeah, it looks like they're playing for picks a lot more than rather than playing for ult charge here, which is not how you want to play it, I don't think.
No, not necessarily. Especially with how slow GG is building his beat. He could have had Sombra ult up so much earlier, but unfortunately the EMP just does not come in.
Yeah, and they could have gone aggressively in there with the EMP because they did have it at the start of that fight. But it's just quite slow play. They're not. I'm wondering where their aggression has gone, because the aggression we saw from yesterday, it doesn't exist currently, not in the same way.
Potentially some new calls being made, new game plan, just play this slow, we can't just run into them, but as you see, they can't do this anymore. They have 1 minute left and they're just now got most of their ults 3 minutes into the game. This is a disaster.
So even if we see an EMP grab here, which is I think is what we'll see, the Baptiste, he's going to stay out of the way and he can get his immortality field up.
Yeah, and the Lucio too hiding, just these double support abilities coming out, but it doesn't matter. A huge McCree ult here.
Yeah, the McCree ult there, once everyone was hacked, it caused it. they didn't have speed boost or any other way to escape out of the McCree's line of sight. McCree was sped around the outside of Hotel, and that's it. It was beautiful play there, but not aggressive enough. It took them a long time.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see some more aggressive plays. These EMPs can really turn fights, but for them to be able to turn these fights, ooh, really unfortunate there. Being shattered in the mail, not letting them escape at all.
Yeah, and we have two more stagger picks coming out here onto Bongo Bapple and Hodo.
Yeah, but as they're pushing up this far, they're still getting a lot of free distance, and the Sombra is now actually charging a lot of 70% already. Again, this is the kind of ult chat I'm expecting.
Yeah, having one EMP in 4 minutes is not quick enough, but having another EMP a minute after the last fight, that would be good, and I think we can see that here from Stella.
Yeah, definitely, and with the Lucian enemy team being nowhere near, it's gonna be very interesting. A Garv press a high noon here, potentially fine epic. Just finding one, but a lot of damage onto the barriers coming in. Lamp here where they're brawling on Nana on the right is trying to turn it, beat coming in, stand out of the shatter, unfortunate. But the brawl is still going on. Stellar finds a pick. Ryan is still brawling. The grab coming in. EMP comes in. And that's enough for Stellar to just find 3 picks.
And there's the aggression that we love to see from them. That is exactly what we've seen before, and that's what we want to see time and time again from them now, to be able to push all the way through to this third point.
Yeah, definitely. If you're a Space PB fan, this is exactly what you want. You want Stellar to be in that backline, just charging his EMP, getting that in 1.5 minutes. So you can use this every fight. This is excellent. This is exactly what you want to see from Space PB. Just this slow, methodical comp from Polar Chicken just gets dismantled by one EMP.
And as long as we can see Stella do that again, I think we can get all the way to the third point.
Yeah, definitely. But a shatter coming out here. A pick on the McCree already. It's a 5v6. Ryan charging in, that's 2 picks. They're running in, they're brawling. And it's just clean up here yet again.
Yeah, and that was quite unfortunate. It looked like Arcane Haze wasn't there to block the shatter for the McCree, which obviously when McCree's in his ultimate, there's not much he can't move much even with the Lucio speed boost, which he did have. So it meant the McCree gets shattered, and then once the McCree and the Lucio are down, there's not much to stop the onslaught coming out from Avacron.
Yeah, Stella didn't really get a lot of ult charge here, unfortunately, in that fight, as the team just rushed forward. Polo Chicken did leave the point open, and there was a potential for a backup there. I'm not exactly sure what exactly happened there, but we're gonna have to see an EMP charge here in 30 seconds, otherwise this might be it for Polar Chicken.
Yeah, unless Arcane Haze can get a big shatter coming off, I'm not sure what we're going to see.
Big shatter coming in, not finding enough. This McCree from the Hagar finding 1 pick, 2 picks. And Red just swinging here. This amplification matrix find a pick. Big shatter just to clean up, and it has to be just Stellar stalling the point out here. Triggered overtime, but there's no one near enough to close it out.
Yeah. As soon as that happens, as soon as you see Arcane Haze going down, that's it. There's nothing there to block the shadow from Avacron, and they just win the fight. The McCree out there was beautiful to open up the fight.
Yeah, definitely. Just in these last plays, you have to have your ult ready. You have to plan 1 fight, 2 fights in advance. And you can see here, even though the beat comes out here, even though the lamp comes out here, McCree just really turning this fight, which they had no right to win there.
No, they didn't, and somehow they did. It's the aggression. When they pull out that aggression, it seems like they do well. But no need to worry, Space PB fans. These guys aren't out of the tournament. They are just going to move down to the losers bracket. So we'll see them again later.
Yeah, definitely. We're hoping to see a lot more from them. Potentially, they're gonna see what mistakes they made, learn from them, and put on a really entertaining performance for all of us.
Yeah, so we just need to wait to see who is the winner out of Saturn and Paralysis score, who are currently in the losers bracket, and one of them will go up against Space PB. But congratulations to Polar Chickens here, because they do move on to the grand finals of this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. Congratulations. And they're gonna be facing on whoever makes it through the bracket.
Yeah, so we've just got to see who makes it through the losers bracket. We'll be back in about half an hour's time. We will be casting the losers final, and whoever wins that will move on to the grand final to face Polar Chickens. Did you see what you wanted to see out of them there?
From Polar Chicken, yeah, I saw exactly what I wanted to see. I was hoping Space PB would put up more of a fight,
Hmm.
but unfortunately, it seems like they had some mentality problems. They didn't really know how they wanted to play into Polar Chicken. Potentially, Polar Chicken just having a very weird comp that they didn't have any practice playing into.
Yeah, and I'm quite surprised they didn't manage to have a better strategy against that Bastion Sim because it's such a common strategy on King's Row on that first point. I'm a little bit surprised they didn't have any way to counter it other than putting a May wall up, which stalls the Bastion for maybe 5 seconds. That was about all they did to try and counter it.
Yeah, definitely. But hopefully we're gonna see some better plays being made by Space PB, and I'm really hoping they make it up to the bracket, and potentially we're gonna see a rematch here between Polar Chickens and Space PB. That'd be very interesting.
That would be very interesting, especially to see if they've got any ways they want to play it differently. I don't know if they've got a coach, but if their coach has any ways that they can play against Polar Chickens to improve their chances if they get to see them again in the grand finals.
Yeah, definitely. And seems like our next match is gonna be Space PB versus Saturn, and we're gonna see how that's gonna work for them when we're back after our break.
Yeah, so we will see you all in probably about 10-15 minutes, ready to cast the losers final between those two teams.
You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro. Don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a damn if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna fucking do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions. They blocking your vision, but no, you can't listen. That shit is all vision. Cause you hold the power as long as you're driven. There's no way that you make it. And maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Are you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Are you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Fight back. You ain't gonna make it, you ain't never ever gonna break it. You can never beat them and they're better than you face it. Thinking that they give it every last place, break it. No, they don't have you. I'll give it to you straight, man. There's too many errors and you're not that great, man. Stop what you're saying, stop what you're making. Everybody here knows that you just fake it. Nah, I don't wanna hear it anymore. I don't wanna hear it anymore. All these fucking thoughts, they are not what I need anymore. I'm about to shut the motherfucking door on all you poor ass haters with your heads in the clouds. Talking out loud so proud. You better shut your goddamn mouth before I do more speak out. It's about to head south. Never gonna make it. There's no way that you make it. And maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Aren't you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Fight back.
And welcome back to the stream. We are going to go ahead into our next match as soon as we can. But first off, I just want to talk about that video. That was real. That was the first video that came out from Pachimari Esports as a community compilation. And I've got to say, it was really good for their first video. And I love seeing all those clips. What do you think about it, Urazi?
Yeah, I saw it previously, and now when I watch it on stream, it really ties well into it. There's some really pog plays being made.
Yeah, and I'd love to see more of those videos coming out. Hopefully we can get one of the highlights from this tournament as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that'd be amazing.
So if you have some like highlight plays, make sure you save those and send it in on the Discord server, and we'll try to fit that into the next highlight.
Yeah, so feel free to send it on the Discord server, to send it into... you can tag us on Twitter. So Pachimari Esports has a Twitter account. We will send that out at the end, and I think it's in our Twitch bio as well. So make sure you follow that and send in your clips to there as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, going into the next match, we are going to the losers final between Space PB and Saturn. So what do you think about this?
Well, Space PB we just watched, we saw that they were lacking in some ways, and they performed really well in others. But here we also have Saturn, which is going to be a very hard match, I feel like, for Space PB. Because they have this one carry player, usually, which is usually Lord or Smog player, who has shown that he is, well, a pretty good main tank player, you could say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think this is going to be the match of the carry main tanks, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we have the exact same on the side of Arcane Haze, the Space PB that we've seen all through yesterday, leading up to this match here. So I think it's going to be quite interesting to see which team manages to get the most out of their Reinhardts and put the most resources in so they can survive, get the most damage, and build up to that shatter as quick as possible.
Yeah, for sure. If Space PB puts a lot of resources into Arcane Haze, he can probably match Moch player, but Saturn has already shown that they are just very committed to Moch player, and they're gonna do everything it takes for Moch player to pop off. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they adapt to that.
Yeah, and obviously Saturn just came out of a win on the losers bracket. They've gone through most of the losers bracket. They were in all except for the first round, and they managed to win every single match since then. So they are on a pure winning streak right now, which has to be good for their mental. But what do you think is going on for Space PB over in their corner?
Well, Space PB, they lost they lost the last match, but now they're back here. They've had some time, and I've heard from our inside sources that they had a bit of a VOD review. So hopefully they planned it and are doing something with the time that they got in between matches.
So they had a VOD review in the last 20 minutes. Do you mean there?
Yeah, in the last 20 minutes in between matches, they had a VOD review. Potentially, the coach can help them adapt to their playstyle, finding out more of how can the team play to, or what can the team do to have more of a cohesion. Maybe they need to play more aggressively. Maybe they need to play more defensively. So I'd say we can't necessarily go from what Space PB has done previously. They might just play as an entirely new team.
Yeah, and it looked like they were trying to do slightly more team play in the last match that we just casted before. But it looks like we are now going into Nepal here.
Yeah, we're on Nepal here, and is there anything specific from the teams? Well, Space PB is a mystery for now, because from all we know, they might roll out on the weirdest new comp.
Yeah, who knows what they'll come out with. I would imagine they're going to stick with the Brawl, because Brawl is typically easier to play as a new comp. Like going into a dive or a meta comp currently, that's quite difficult to do. So I would expect them to keep playing stuff that they've played before. But potentially you can see some kind of pocket strats come out here with Symmetras and with Farahs. Maybe even a Doomfist. Because this point in the center allows for a lot of different points of cover where people can really play around it.
Yeah, there's been some talk also about how Saturn wins fights. They plan it.
Yeah. It looks like they're coming out on the dive here. They've got the double bubble dive, which I think will do quite well for them here.
More than likely, yeah. We're gonna see how that's gonna work for them. And they're rolling out on dive from Space PB here.
But they are going up against the Brawl, and the Brawl with a Symmetra, which is going to help to counter the dive just a little bit. The turrets will slow down the opposing team.
Yeah, but Saturn has run into something like this previously. When they see this kind of comp, they know they only have a few barriers, so what they try to do is surround them. You can see this Echo already on the flank trying to get something done, and now the Tracer are taking yet another off angle. And what they're doing here, they're just splitting the members, making them focus on different parts. Doesn't seem like that's working for them for now. A pick coming out from the McCree here, yet another pick, and just clean up. The Rhine just brawling into them as the dive has to go into them, and as they cannot burst a target, the brawl just wins along. But Eclipse finding a pick back, but just gonna get a refrag.
Yeah, I've got to say, I don't think the pick on the Lucio there does much other than build up Transcendent Ult Charge for Eclipse, because Lucio can get back to the point. He'll probably be back in about a second. Yeah, there we go. But I think that was a really nice play from Bongo Bapple to keep the Echo and the Tracer both busy, so they couldn't actually keep the dive going on to the main Brawl team.
Yeah, definitely. We see a little bit of a swap here. We see Moch back on his carry champ here on right, potentially just trying to win this brawl that they showed that they are strong on. But unfortunately, their Shatter misses there. Potentially they can use this, but the early lamp already out. A lot of damage. Just Sim just trying to build up charge just to melt that Rhine barrier. Moch player already 63% ult, but the Graph coming in. It's probably gonna get thrown out here in a sec. There are 3 ults being used there. Big charge kit. But I'd say that's over ulting almost from Space PB here.
Yeah, absolutely. They managed to get a nice 5k out of Arcanhaze there, swinging into the Grav, but they used 5 ultimates to do it. And although there's no ultimates yet on the side of Saturn, they're going to have a Shatter coming up quite quickly, and they'll have a Symmetra very early in this fight.
Yeah, and we've seen what Mock player can do with a Shatter, so we're gonna see who's gonna adapt to that. But Bongo have pulled aside in like, no, you're not getting in close enough to do that. Just speeding him around the corner, unfortunately not finding anything, expecting the play. And yet again a missed Shatter from both teams actually. Not finding a lot of value, but now they're running and brawling each other. Mock player just absolutely in their backline, Solo just swinging into them. Now has the back out playing in the lamp, trying to get a charge pick. Does get a charge pick, but it is refragged. Sigma ult is being used, Symmetra also being used here. But with the wall up, with amplification up, it seems like they're finally gonna cap.
Yeah, and I think that the main issue there for Space PB was they didn't have the Mei. The Mei of Fireman was putting up some really nice walls to cut the team up, and the slows were stopping any, from Arcanhaze specifically, from being able to escape out of the swings of Mock player.
Yeah, definitely. But Saturn is the defending team now, and with the Symmetra, with this Mei, with the Sigma, it's gonna be exceptionally hard to push into this.
Yeah, we just hope they push up nice and close to the choke to stop them from getting past there.
Definitely. Early amplification matrix being used there, but counter Mei ult with a barrier, just not letting them back out. It's just everything that's needed. Very well played here.
Yeah, that was exactly how they needed to play it, because at the end of the day, they used one ultimate. As soon as that Baptiste ult goes up, you know all of Space PB are going to be pushed up so they can try and make the most of it, make the most efficient use. So, if you Mei ult just behind it, you know that you're going to hit everyone there. It was beautiful.
Very well played, and just using one ult to charge the rest of yours is a really good idea. If you just keep cycling through these ults, like if we see a really good Shatter here, they can potentially just use that to just charge the rest of the ults, and they can just snowball that lead.
Absolutely. So I think that's what we will see here.
Shatter misses, but Mock player gonna see if he can find something, and a huge Shatter coming out here.
Yeah, and you are absolutely right. The shatters coming out from Mock player are huge almost every single time that we see them.
Yeah, definitely, and only 2 ults having to be used here by Saturn. And like I said, they're just using these ults to charge their... Like, they have Sigma ult now, they have Sim ult up. And they can just use these to win this last fight here. And by just cycling through these ults 1 by 1, 2 by 2, and just trading it for the enemy and still winning, they're just massive.
And we see Bongo Bapple come out on a clutch pick of the Pharaoh to try and get something done, if they can even touch the point here.
That's 99 HP. Lucio with the hero play touching, but a huge Sigma ult in the backline. Farah trying to do anything she can in the background, just a grab up in the air there, Mock play. Amplification matrix coming up, but Lordry just beaming everything down, finding 2, finding 3 picks.
Yeah, as soon as that Symmetra gets charged up.
Farah unfortunately not being able to find anything on point.
And yeah, we see the cleanup. That was quite a close map overall, but I think as soon as you see Saturn take over the point, we needed a big switch up from Space PB there to even get a chance of winning that round.
Yeah, Saturn saw that their dive comp is not gonna work, so they instantly swapped to something that had a higher win percentage. And I was hoping for something similar to that. Maybe if that Farah pick would have come out earlier, they could have tried to spam them, but unfortunately that did not come out.
Yeah, that is exactly what I would have liked to see, is something like that, just to kind of try and switch everything up. But we come on to Village here, and it looks like we have quite a similar set of dual comps coming out for both teams.
Yeah, definitely. Instead of the Symmetra, Space PB is opting for the Hanzo. They want these longer fights, while Symmetra just wants to run into them, melt the barriers through really fast. And we see the Sigma on Snow instead of the Zarya.
And we see this from where they position as well. We see the Symmetra going straight to point, whereas the Hanzo's taking the high ground. It's exactly what we expect, but both teams do have a Mei, so they've both got to be careful of the walls.
Yeah, definitely. Seems like they want to drop in behind them where they don't have as much control, but they're just rotating to the other side of the point. That's gonna be very hard to try to find picks on them. Hanzo is trying to find picks inside, but it's not really working. Mei ult, or Mei wall I should say. Unfortunately did not find anything, so now it's Stellar's turn to try to find a big Mei wall. Gets a pretty good Mei wall, but doesn't necessarily lock anyone up. A find coming up from onto Mock player there. Lamp not being able to save them, but Sam trades back onto Arcanhaze, and now it's just a 5v5 without the Rhines.
And we've seen the May Wall used twice now just to lock them off a point so they can get a cap.
Yeah, but even as they do get Cav, Amplification Matrix comes out there, potentially enough to just turn this fight. Not finding any picks, but it seems like the ult are just gonna come out from Saturn.
Yeah, as soon as that Symmetra Wall goes up, it gets so much harder to brawl on that quite small point. And I've got to say, I think the main issue for me, at least, in that fight, was Bongo Bapple followed his team the entire way. And brawled, basically played Hanzo as a brawl character, which did get a pick. But I would have liked to see them take a bit of an off angle, where they were slightly less shielding to do more damage and hopefully pick out one of the squishies on the side of...
Yeah, definitely. Hanzo has so much verticality, so much just presence that he can make. He can force Saturn into weird positions. Especially since they don't necessarily have anything to deal with him.
Yeah, no, exactly. I would have loved to see that, but we might see that coming into here.
Amplification Matrix coming up here. Mock player, really good wall, stopping Mock player from getting charged. Mailed being thrown out there, having to just abandon point here. A lot of players are being found, and Bongo Bapple just finding the picks necessary.
And that's exactly what we want to see. We want to see Bongo Bapple getting all of those picks as soon as they can. The male was extremely aggressive, but they timed it with the Sigma grasp. Oh, we see picks coming back around there. What happened?
Well, I feel like Mock player wanted to stall it out, potentially turn it by himself with the shatter, but not quite strong enough to just 1v5, unfortunately.
It did get them some more percentage on the point though, which is definitely advantageous.
Yeah, and Space PB just letting them walk into point again, this is not what you want to do. But a big shatter onto the backline, I'm really not expecting that, but the shatter being traded and a Grav Dragon here potentially being huge, finding a pick onto Snow. But the absolutely massive shatter is just gonna seal the deal for Saturn.
Yeah, I think that was, again, quite a slow fight. These fights seem quite chaotic between these two teams, although there's a really nice pick from Bongo Bapple there onto the Baptiste.
Yeah, Bongo Bapple still in the backline, just trying to turn this, but now very low HP has to back out.
So what I'd like to see more, I'd love to see a little bit more aggression. I like that flank shadow from Arkenhaze, and I want to see something like that again.
With Mayult being thrown out here, all of them trapped in it, very unfortunate here. But the big refrag coming in on the May, just a 5-for-5 now, but the main healer dead here for Space PB. They keep running it, Mock player finds a huge fire strike and Lord just beaming them down. Desperation plays here, but not enough.
Unfortunately, no, not enough, and as soon as you see that Symmetra getting that high charge on that beam, there's not much that can stop it, because even with the shield would be dead in about 5 seconds, the shield will be down and everyone will start taking damage again, and it's not enough if your Baptiste or your May are taken out.
Yeah, definitely. This is exactly what I hope to see from Space PB. They seem to have adapted a bit since our last match, and into this, quite frankly, harder matchup into Saturn, they really showed that they have what it takes to actually take home some of these maps.
Yeah, and I think that this is going to be a really exciting losers final to see who goes up into the grand finals later.
Yeah, definitely. We can see 18 sound barriers provided with just 3 casts. Is that 6 per cast?
Yes, that checks out in my head, the maths. So yeah, that's every single player was hit by each of those sound barriers, which is really
that was very well played, yeah. So we're gonna move on to our next map. If I'm not mistaken, it's gonna be King's Row, but potentially we're gonna throw that around. But I guess we're gonna see about that.
I am hoping it's not King's Row, but I imagine it will be.
I also imagine it will be, but there's only one way to find out, right?
Although I'm not sure if Space PB have always picked it against teams that usually haven't shown their brawl off as much as Space PB show off theirs with Arkenhaze. But Saturn obviously have an extremely good brawl too, so maybe they'll try and pick a different map, just to not allow Saturn to get the Reinhardt out. It looks like they are taking a second to decide on the map here.
Yeah, potentially talking with their coach in the voice chat, being like, King's Row is this really brawly map, and their brawl is really good, so potentially we can choose another map, which is risky, quite frankly. Yeah. But if the coaching staff on Space PB decides that's what they want to do, then I feel like they should definitely go for it.
Yeah. I think, especially if that VOD review that they had was on the King's Row map, which I hope it was, then maybe this will be the chance for them to turn it around on there because of that VOD review that they had in that little space of time. So I guess we'll wait and see. Just one quick thing: your webcam has frozen. I don't know if you are aware.
I'll get that fixed, but for now, I don't seem to have a feed on my webcam. I think my webcam just saw this exceptional play by both teams and just couldn't handle it, unfortunately. But I'll get that fixed for next map. No worries.
Or maybe if we need to bring out the MS Paint again, we bring out the MS Paint.
Yeah, potentially we'll bring out the MS Paint. Hopefully that won't be needed, but until then, I can just have a stare off with all of Twitch chat right now.
Yeah, okay, everyone watching Twitch chat, make sure that you don't blink until your Next blinks on stream for us. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
So we are still waiting for a confirmation on the map, and it looks like the Space PB are taking some substitutes here.
Yeah, they're stopping Boris for Lynx Star.
Can you remember seeing Boris play specifically on Space PB before?
I haven't seen a lot of Space PB play, unfortunately, and I haven't seen the Boris play either. I assume that was one of the coaching staff, as I'm pretty sure that's Vision PB.
Mhm.
But especially since he has PB in his name and it's Space PB. But I guess Boris is just another player then for Space PB.
Yeah, I guess so. And it looks like there's some issues, but we are going to Eichenwald as the map, which is nice. We get a little bit of a break from King's Row. As much as I love the map, I don't want to see it too much, I think.
Yeah, definitely. 10th time King's Row, 6 times King's Row. How many times are we gonna see King's Row in this match? Is very interesting.
I can't wait till we get to the finals and we have all 5 maps as King's Row. I think that would be quite exciting.
Yeah, well, not a lot of adaptation, unfortunately, but we'll see how that's gonna turn out for the teams. If they're gonna decide to throw us for a spin, not pick King's Row.
So what do you think will be coming out here from Eichenwald? Do you think that's a switch from Space PB because of their VOD review?
I feel like, yeah, they might be able to do that. If they feel like their playstyle is more adapted to King's Row, they could definitely make that work. But Saturn has also shown that they're quite strong on Eichenwald. So it's going to be interesting, for sure.
And just for the viewers, can you remind us what Saturn played on Eichenwald yesterday?
I mean, we can ask our production for that too, but I'm not necessarily sure. But from what I remember, they played Brawl all the way, with Mach player being on Monkey sometimes, on second point.
Okay, that's quite interesting.
But that could be wrong.
Well, I think that could end up being reasonably interesting to see as well, because I think bringing a Monkey in or having the main Brawl, I think that allows for a little bit more flexibility that we haven't really seen from Space PB. Because although Arkenhaze was on the ball briefly on Lijiang Tower, what was it, last match, we didn't see much space being made, which is what you want to see from the ball. So I think maybe Saturn are going there because they know Space PB. Oh, so Space PB want to go there, and
yeah,
go
seems that we're not getting King's Row for the 20th time now. We're actually getting the German map Eichenwald.
Yeah, we are definitely getting it. Hallelujah. So let's have some spam in chat for Eichenwald, not King's Row.
Yeah, we're playing on not King's Row as it's come to be called now.
Yep, that is exactly what it's called, and we are not renaming the org to King's Row Esports.
No, unfortunately not.
Because we don't want to see King's Row every day. Thank you very much.
Yeah, not necessarily. It seems like my webcam is back and working now, so it decided to work. As my webcam saw Eichenwald on stream, it decided, okay, now is the time we start working again. So whoever won this start off with me, congratulations.
If anyone did. If you think you did,
did,
send something in chat for us now.
Yeah, send something in chat, and we will definitely look into that. But yeah, not King's Row. What are you expecting on not King's Row?
On not King's Row, like you said, I think the Brawl, if that's what Saturn are good at playing on not King's Row, then I expect we'll see that. Mox player obviously extremely good on the Reinhardt and can go toe to toe with Arcanhaze, which is extremely exciting to watch. Fireman as well, really good on that Mei. We see a lot of extremely good Mei rules. So if we can see something like that coming out from them, that would be amazing. But also, I think it would be nice to see some flexibility, something divey, either with the Winston or with the ball. I think that would be really exciting to see.
Yeah, that would be exciting. I'm hoping to see the meta comp, especially on the attack from both teams, since it's really strong. And if they got some coaching, maybe they're still getting coaching, that's why it's taking so long. But if they got some coaching on how that's supposed to be played, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, maybe a 20-minute coaching session is all you need to learn to play spam as Echo, right? Maybe that's it.
Yeah, perhaps. Perhaps that is the case. But
Although
we are about to find out, I guess.
I do think a lot of teams are not favouring the Echo as much as before since the nerfs have come through onto live. And I think that might be part of the reason why some teams have been almost pure locking Brawl, other than the occasional switch for some maps.
Yeah, definitely. There isn't really a lot to say before we can, start the match. So hopefully the coaching staff on Space PB is gonna wrap it up. But we're about to find out.
So what about you guys in chat? Well, who do you think is going to win this match? Are you expecting it's going to be Saturn just going all the way through? Because this is only a best of 3, so it's first to 2 points.
Yeah,
and as we go in, let us know what you think. Who's going to win?
Yeah, well, I'm expecting if Space PB got this much coaching, there's no excuse for them losing this. So I'm betting on Space PB here for sure.
I would definitely like to see it because so far in this tournament I've only casted 2-0s, so I think it would be nice to see. Although this match is already closer than a lot of them, I'd like to see this match get really close and go all the way up to the final maps.
Yeah, for sure, and we're gonna see how that's gonna go for them.
I've still not yet casted an escort map at all in my casting, so it would be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, only hybrid so far, but if we do get an escort map, that would be very interesting. We're definitely gonna see that in grand finals, but for now, doesn't seem like we're gonna get a lot of that. We see the swap from Boris as the off tank, and we're gonna see if maybe that's to change their playstyle with the Zarya, because I did not see a lot of Zarya, I feel like, from Space PB.
So I think they were playing Zarya a couple of times, but maybe this is just the fact that Arcanhaze has a little bit better synergy with Boris, or they're trying something completely new. I'm unsure, but they are running the Brawl comp here.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind something new. I mean, if the old comp doesn't work, the old player doesn't work, why not try something new? We're gonna see how that's gonna work for them.
And we have double shield with a spam and an echo on the side of the defense, and Ashe is falling incredibly low really early there.
Yeah, but there's a lot of win conditions here for Space PB. This Nano Blade, this Grab, this Shatter, a lot of stuff that can potentially go really well for them or potentially go really wrong depending on how it works out for them. With this Brig is gonna deny a lot of space for the Genji, can't dash in and then dash out instantly. So they're just having to rotate and try to find this poke. But if you're a Brawl trying to poke against the poke, you're just gonna lose out. You have to close this distance really fast and run in. But Snow already finds a pick onto Stellar.
Yeah, and honestly that pick is going to help a lot. We see the Echo here going for a lot of flanks, and they're comboing with the Orisa Halt, which is exactly what you want to do, to get as much ult charge onto the Echo as possible.
Yeah, Arcane here is deciding to play a bit more defensive here. Potentially this is what they want to do, and this is what they practice, just not running into them as much, but this is exactly the same problem as they had last time. They're not aggressive enough, they're not running into this Brawl. You're only ever gonna win against this Brawl if you're point blank on them. You have to close this distance really fast. So you're gonna have to coordinate with that Lucio to speed amp and just run into them. That's exactly what I see here. Nano boost on the right as he's just charging and trying to find everything he can, but an absolutely huge Sigma ult here, just trying to turn it, and it's 3 picks. This is gonna be enough.
Yeah, I imagine this will be enough. There was a really nice anti-nade from Hodo onto the Orisa of Saturn, but it wasn't enough to win because Snow pulled an absolutely amazing Sigma ult onto, I think it was 4 of Space PB there, which won them the fight.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely massive. They're finding 3 picks and heavily damaging the 4th. And even though Arcane Haze found a lot of value, they're finding a lot of picks, it was unfortunately not enough. But a lot of ults were forced out to make that play from Saturn. And now with the Blade, with the Grav, with the Shatter, and the Beat, it can potentially turn this around.
Yeah, we lose the Nanoblade win condition here, but we do have a Grav that we can blade into, or potentially a Shatter. Either one of which I think would be a good pick here for...
Yeah, it seems like when they ran into them, it worked really well for them, but it doesn't seem like they want to do that. It's seeming instead of running in, they're just gonna charge and try to find a pick on the Sigma. Grav coming out here, but no one else to follow up on it. Boris just solo being with the Ana trying to get an anti on. It's not enough as Fireman, it doesn't melting everyone.
Yeah, and we see this Echo Pick being extremely valuable, although they get taken out at the end. The Echo Pick here is so good at forcing the Brawl to look away from each other. If the Brawl isn't all together, they're not going to win a fight, because you want the Lucio, you want the Ana, you want the Reinhardt all next to each other. But we do see a big win condition here coming out for Space PB, which is the Nanoblade.
For sure. But the early amplification makes here trying to stall them up, but they just rotate past. Very well played there. With Ryan almost dying there to that poke. Sigma ult coming out there trying to turn it Lucio beating. Nanoblade coming in, getting beat with still finding one pick, ending two picks. Heinrun coming out there, they're just throwing everything against the wall, just saying we have to win this fight. It's last fight territory. But potentially one too many ults.
Yeah, I think the McCree ult though at the end, although it did help secure the win, I don't think they really needed it, and it would have been a lot more useful on this point as there's so much more high ground, it's so much more open for both teams.
Yeah, someone said in the chat, Space PB don't have W keys, but it seems like their Ryan has a hotkey for his chart, as he charges them very often, it would seem like. But
It really feels like Arcane Haze has switched his W and his left shift keys around here.
yeah, that does seem like a case, but Space PB getting poked out a lot, but getting distance here.
Yeah, they're getting this distance, and although there's a lot of poke, it's maybe not enough.
The big charge here onto Arcade Haze, unfortunately not being able to shatter, but the pick from Snow coming out on Boris, and this poke just slowly dismantling Space PB.
And that's exactly how you want to play it as Saturn here, is you know that the Brawl only has a limited amount of resources. They have one Xayah bubble to go onto the enemy team, and they have one Xayah bubble for themselves. They only have one nade. There's not much they can do if you slowly build out those resources. As soon as those resources are gone, you send in your Echo, get a pick, and then the fight's won.
Yeah, definitely. We're well done here, just setting up this Ashe, just absolutely letting them free shoot. And with this amplification matrix here, coming at just to spam them out, and Space PB know they have to close this distance, so they're just pushing onto Saturn here, but Saturn know this, and are already pushing out. But they're still gonna close this distance, they're brawling them. But the Shatter unfortunately not finding anything, and the Rhine just getting melted. And when the Rhine is gone, there's no present. Nanoblade being pulled out, just trying to find some value, finding one pick, finding two picks. Not finding the Genji unfortunately, but Lord and the two DPS are just trying to turn it, but it's not enough. But unfortunately, as this fight has been going on, the payload has not pushed that far.
Yeah, so although I think it was a really nice decision there to use the Nanoblade, and Bongo Bapple, I think I was asked in chat yesterday if Bongo Bapple was the carry. I think currently I would absolutely say yeah. Bongo Bapple here has managed to get at least two picks with both blades and won that fight single-handedly for Space PB.
Yeah, but Saturn is behind them now. Now they're the attacking team, you could say. And they're just trying to defend the point.
And they'll slowly spam out all these resources, and then hopefully we'll get a contest in before the point gets capped.
I'm not sure they'll get a contestant. They're just pushing to the end, and no one is going to be able to touch it, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was... I think the issue here for Saturn was... Oh, sorry. There's two shatters come out from Fireman in the space of 30 seconds.
Yeah, I would have hoped Space PB didn't ult there, because the payload already reached the end. But they opted to use the McCree ult and the Lucio ult to try to win the fight anyway. But now they are on an ult disadvantage, pushing into third point.
But it does help stop the momentum that could have came out. Which I think it was quite... I think this momentum being stopped to ensure that they don't just rush through the first corner, because the first corner here for Saturn will be really easy to hold now, with 4 ultimates and almost 5.
Yeah, definitely. As you can see, they haven't even gotten past the choke, but a lot of the resources have already been used. A Nano Blade coming up here again, potentially they can use this, but as they have 5 ults on the enemy team and a rally already being used, it can be harder to cut through the enemy team, starting to pull the trigger on it, trying to find a pick. Huge shatter here, and the Genya just cuts through them. Desperation Bob ult here coming up. Amplification Matrix. Unfortunately not finding anything.
And Bongo Battle is still getting kills.
Yeah, still getting kills in the backline, trying to find this Ashe. Is gonna find it.
And I've got to say, I think one of the main issues here for Saturn is that both of the Bobs Lord has used have done nothing. They've been after the fight was already lost.
Yeah, definitely. Not using it reactively instead of passively. It's very interesting here, but it seems like the poke is just finding a lot of value here. Bongo Battle not being able to dash through them enough times to kill them. And they're gonna stabilize, but the question now that everyone is asking, are they gonna be able to touch Echo?
And yeah, I think Arcane Haze here on the ball will manage to touch unless the Brig stuns and whip shots them away, which actually just happens. We might not even get a contest.
Unfortunately, no, it doesn't seem like we're gonna get a contest here, unfortunately, but I would say this is not bad for Space PB. They pushed really far, and yeah, not bad.
Yeah, I think that it was a really nice push. I think that this, I don't know if I want to call it a C9 or if it was just pure misplay on the side of Saturn, not capping that, not stopping the point on the point cap on the second point there, just over the bridge. That I think really lost them a lot of space and a lot of time, because if they managed to stay there, they had the ultimates to contest it.
Yeah, definitely. Like they could have. What the poke needs to do is they need to have some defensive position and they just need to poke them out. But the brawl just decided to go on point and say, "This is where we're brawling. We're slowly just gonna make our way forward, and you have to come to us." And when the poke has to come into the brawl, they're just gonna lose.
Yeah, because as soon as they get up close, that's it. But I do want to talk about a little bit more flexibility showing on the side of Space PB, where they're not just trusting Arcane Haze to carry now, although they definitely did amazingly with that shatter on the last point. We're seeing a lot more come out from Bongo Battle, and we're seeing a Farah here on the defense.
Yeah, definitely. Bongo Battle and Mercy here potentially can just cut off the brawl, quite frankly, from off player, but it seems like they know this, as Snow is already on Diva, which can be a counter to the Farah potentially.
As long as they're played right, it can be.
Yeah, definitely. And Stellar on the Sombra here needs to find more ult shot than he did last time on Kingstroke. And as you can see, he's already just SMGing, getting a hack and run, just beaming everyone. He knows he has to get these EMPs fast. And Bongo Battle already finding a pick on to the Brig. But the Saturn still taking this fight, potentially thinking they can win this, but without the Brig, a 5v6. And this Farah that's just absolutely spamming you out with the Lord and not being able to find the Farah.
And it doesn't seem like Mock Players has the message that they were going to retreat. The Immortality Field had to be used there because Mock Player wasn't retreating at all.
Yeah, definitely. Amplification Matrix coming out here, but it's still not enough. A bit of a miscommunication potentially here, but Barrage is almost up. There's so many. They're about to get 6 ults here from Space PB. And a huge shatter here coming out from Arcane Haze. Already finding Mock Player and only having to use those 2 ults to just find all of that.
And I'm expecting we'll see a rotation of these ultimates now. We have the Barrage, which potentially could get enough picks to stop a halt, to stop a push. We have a Grav to potentially combo with that, or with the EMP. So we have a lot of win conditions here for Space PB to stop this halt, to stop this push any further.
Yeah, definitely. As they have the advantage in ult economy, they can just rotate, like use 2 ults, let the rest of your team charge there, then use 2 ults the next fight. So we're gonna see, potentially Boris is gonna grab here, you can see he's in a bit of a position. Finds a huge grab there. Range charges and a barrage being used there. But unfortunately, not finding, as I say that, they do find some picks, but it's traded back. Both tanks dropped and the res coming in. Huge res here, and the Farah just dismantling the backline as the amplification matrix is coming in.
Yeah, and a lot of people talk about Farah's ult being a press Q to die button there, but there was no way for Saturn to do anything about it. And although Arcane Haze did fall, Viper went in for an extremely aggressive res, and there was nothing there to stop it on this side of Saturn.
Yeah, definitely. And we have this EMP coming up, but with no beat to save them, this can potentially be huge if they get a shot. Oh, he gets stunned out of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was an amazing play by Lord there to stun the EMP.
Yeah, Lord just saving his team when it matters. The two shatters coming out here, just being charged up by Ryan's going off the map there.
Yeah, that was, I think that was 3 shatters. One from each Reinhardt and one from the Echo there.
Yeah, with Snow finding a pick there, and Firebrand just trying to dismantle. Barrage nowhere near ready, with the Mercy not pocketing the fire. It's just gonna be an easy pick for Lord there.
Although they still need to cap this point, and Stella's there to contest it.
Stellar just finding some picks. He did die, but Arcane Haze is back here. Potentially they can recontest this if Arcane Haze can stall this out long enough. Doesn't seem like he's gonna be able to do it, unfortunately.
And this might be a stagger pick on the Mercy here.
Yeah, you were very accurate on your assessment there.
So that's quite unfortunate because it means there's a lot less healing for Bongo Battle, who, although I'm sure Hodo is very good at the Ana, it means they can't play as aggressively because the Ana really needs to be concentrating on keeping Boris alive and Arcane Haze once they're back.
Yeah, but Stellar already has another EMP ready in for the next fight, which is huge here. They can potentially just do the same thing, but Bongo Battle already dead. So they can potentially res this as they have a Mercy. But McCree in the backline just finding a pick on the resing Mercy and getting out alive.
And I think that was a couple of misplays there. We see both Reinhardts falling off the map again. This is
yeah,
this is a
potentially
nice trade from both.
Trying to trade, yeah. You just decided, hey, if you can charge me off the map and BM me, I can charge you off the map and BM you.
Honestly, I love that. I love to see it because it means that although both teams lose their Reinhardt, one of the most important players in each comp, they can still go on fighting without them because they both don't have one.
Yeah, definitely. I'm hoping to see a lot of ult coming out there. It's 6 ults to 6 ults here coming up potentially. And then potentially a huge EMP is gonna come out here. But if it doesn't find the Lucio, it's not gonna be the... Shatter misses. EMP comes out. Sombra falls, not being able to EMP unfortunately. Nano coming in on the Rhine, but Lord are just finding this pick for the amplification magic. Arcane Hate trades back with 2 Fire Strike kills. And just holding this front up, but Lord is still, as all this is happening, is still finding picks in the back. It's just the tanks forward, it's getting booped off the map.
That was a really nice slow fight played out on the side of Saturn there. Although they lost a couple of players early, they continue to fight it and use their ultimates to really gain an advantage.
Yes, they're still getting an absolutely huge EMP there and a barrage coming in here. Unfortunately only finding one and getting traded back. But Arcane Haze is back now, lamping from out very early to save Mock player. Shatter unfortunately misses. But it seems like that's just gonna be enough.
Yeah, this should be enough to push it all through the point now. The EMP was amazing from Stella to try and get the defense. But the barrage coming out from Bongo Battle was way too far away to get anything useful. There was almost no damage coming in.
Yeah, but Space PB putting up a really good fight here, forcing all the ults from Saturn here.
Yeah, it's really, really well played. They only have the copy and the shatter coming into the final point.
Yeah, but now with 2 minutes to push the payload almost to the end, we're not gonna have a lot of points here. It's either they push it to the end or they do not.
Yeah, so this is it. We are going to see it. We are going to see the final couple of fights coming to this third point, and we need to see Space PB defending this with all their might to stay in this tournament.
Oh, but unfortunately, such a huge shatter coming out there, just instantly taking care of Arcane Haze and Boris. That might just be enough for them to push all the way.
And once again, if they can't get a contest in here, that is them out of this tournament, and we will see Saturn going on to the grand finals.
Yeah, whoever loses this still gets third place, but no one wants to do that. They're gonna use every tooth, every nail, and Stellar just trying his hardest to charge this EMP last minute. It might be enough to turn this fight, and this Grav coming in. He's gonna have to get thrown out as soon as he comes back from the spot. Grav being thrown out, EMP ready. But unfortunately gets picked. Shatter misses, but Arcane Haze holding his barrier strong. I'm just gonna have to stall it, but that Arcane Haze dies, and the Diva Bomb is coming in. It's not gonna be enough, unfortunately. The Lord just popping his McCree ult through the amplification matrix. Huge EMP, but there's no one to follow up on it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it looks like that will be it.
That is it. Saturn goes on to the grand finals, and Space PB as our third place team.
Yeah, it was extremely well played from both of the teams there. I think it was quite tough, and they were a really good matchup for each other. But honestly, I think for me at least, Lord was a standout player as soon as they switched over to that McCree, stopping multiple ults and getting loads of extremely good picks.
Yeah, definitely Lord, a very skilled hit scan player, and has really showed that even though we have a standout main tank player, I can also make plays. If our Ryan is not up for the task, if the Ryan is not doing what he needs to do at any given time, if the main tank diff is not winning them the game, then the hit scan diff is going to win them the game.
Yeah, and I think it was really nice to see both teams, although they both had their main tanks have standout plays multiple times in both of those maps, the DPS really shined on Iconvold because you saw extremely nice plays come out from Fireman on the Echo. You saw the Genji on Bongo Bapple playing extremely well. You saw McCree playing for Bongo Bapple really well too. It was really nice to see the DPS pop off a lot more than we've seen in the past from both of the teams.
Yeah, it's been mostly tank favored for the most part, but now we're seeing a lot more DPS just deciding to, hey, we're also a player in this game. We have so much damage, we can just potentially turn every fight. And both Bongo Bapple and a lot of other players really showing what they go for.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the first maps for Space PB where I think Arcane Haze didn't have gold damage on their team. I can't confirm that, but that's my guess. Is the DPS there were doing extremely well. Bongo Bapple's Genji was playing so good to make sure to get at least a couple of picks on the Blade, and there were some really nice flanks coming out when they switched over back to the McCree.
Yeah, definitely. And this McCree finding huge value, just denying this, quite frankly, potentially game-winning EMPs. Very well played there.
Yeah, I think that was an amazing match for our losers final. I want to say congratulations to both teams for making it this far into the bracket. But we are going to be moving on to our grand finals later on today.
Yeah, very shortly we're gonna. It's still us. It's still me and my co-caster Echo, and this time it's gonna be a best of 5. So potentially we're gonna have a lot closer games. We'll see. We're
Yeah,
gonna
hopefully it won't be a 2-0.
Yeah, hopefully, or it won't be a 2-0 because
But okay.
you have to win 3 maps.
So yeah, my bad, absolutely.
Potentially it can
even
be a 3-0, but
well, let's hope not. And I don't think it will be because both of the teams have shown. I mean, Saturn has made the most amazing lower bracket run. They went down in round 2 into this lower bracket and have won every single game since then.
yeah, potentially just like shock. As if you remember Overwatch League last season, just getting thrown out into the losers bracket very early, and that was just enough to push them over the edge. Just deciding, okay, we're gonna stick together. We are just gonna pull it together and bring it all the way to the end to the grand finals. So we're gonna see what Saturn can do.
And actually, this is the most amazing storyline for Saturn here, because do you know who it was that knocked them down into the lower bracket in the first place?
Was it Polar Chicken?
It was Polar Chickens.
Ooh.
So this is the most amazing comeback story. If they can win the entirety of the lowest bracket, come back up to the grand finals, and now beat Polar Chickens, that would be amazing for both the team and for the storyline of our first tournament here at Pachimari Esports.
Yeah, well, Polar Chicken is gonna have to step up their game then, because Saturn is really showing what they go for, and they really show that they really win these fights through planning it.
Yeah, and I think both teams plan their fights extremely well. And they've both shown the flexibility that they have, that they don't just need to stick with their obviously really good brawl. They can switch it up a little bit and use multiple different comps to take the win.
Well, yeah, that's true. But don't forget to be back with us when we're back after our break for the grand finals. It's going to be a very interesting map because we're going to get at least 3 matches, but I'm expecting it to be a lot closer than that.
Yeah, I'm really hoping we go all the way to the map 5. I think that would be amazing to see for our finals.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to see about that. So, yet again, go grab yourself something to drink, maybe some popcorn, because we're in for a long one.
Hopefully, anyway. See you in a bit, guys.
ever gonna make it. You're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop and go. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro. Don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a damn if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna fucking do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions. They block in your vision, but no, you can't listen. That shit is all fiction. Cause you hold the power as long as you're driven.
There's no way that you make it. And maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Aren't you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Fight back.
You ain't gonna make it, you ain't never ever gonna break it. You can never beat them and they're better than you face it. Thinking that they giving you life, but it's break it. No, they don't give it to you. I'll give it to you straight, man. There's too many errors and you're not that great, man. Stop what you're saying, stop what you're making. Everybody here knows that you just nah, I don't wanna hear it anymore. I don't wanna hear it anymore. All these fucking thoughts, they are not what I need anymore. I'm about to shut the motherfucking door on all you poor ass haters with your heads in the clouds, talking out loud so proud. You better shut your goddamn mouth before I do more speak out. It's about to head south.
Never gonna make it. There's no way that you make it. And maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Aren't you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Fight back.
Okay, are we going in? Okay, so I guess we are going into the final match of today of the entire tournament. We have the grand finals coming up. You excited for this?
Yeah, I'm very excited for this. It's the redemption story for Saturn here, being knocked out very, very early in the bracket, and now getting to face their demons, you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. They are facing the same people that knocked them down to the lowest bracket here. They knocked them down in a 2-0, and it wasn't a completely dominant fashion, but it was extremely well played from Polar Chickens that first time around. So I think it'd be extremely interesting to see how Saturn have managed to improve their team play, which they've done a lot, and see if that will work to get the win against, as you put it, their demons.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be very interesting to see what happens here, but it seems like we're going straight in already. We don't even get to discuss MVPs or anything.
Yeah, so we are going ahead straight into Oasis for our first control map of the grand finals. Is there anything particularly you expect to see here on, I don't even know which map this is called, Gardens, I think?
Yeah, Gardens, exactly. Well, you know what I like to see from both of the teams. I really like from Saturn to see this brawl, and I really like to see from Polar Chickens the brawl too.
Yeah. Although with the amount of high ground here, I'm expecting some more slightly divey characters come out on the tank side at least to control the high ground on point.
Yeah, definitely. You can see Mock Player and Saturn here pulling out the meta comp, you could say, with the potential 2-4 split here with the Mercy. But we're gonna see how they adapt to that.
Yeah, and we have the double bubble coming out on the other side, which we've seen a couple of times from them, and I think it gives quite a few of them their comfort picks almost, because Velotrix is extremely competent on that Tracer.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like none of the teams really prioritizing the high ground for now. Seems like this health pack is a priority. But Saturn do have a Diva on the high ground, but the Zen is rotating by himself. Could potentially have been a dive target there, but they give up the high ground for free. Mock Player pal driving in and rolling out. Not costing him a lot of help, but Eclipse finds a really good pick onto the Brig there.
Yeah, that was a really nice opening pick, and it does halt the push coming out from that team, because without the Brig to counter the dive, they can't risk going like pushing in because they'll lose more of their players.
Yeah, now with the defensive positions, they can just do so much here. It's gonna be really hard to dive into them. But as I say that they are diving in, the double bubbles are coming out. Monkey trying to get hold of the high ground. Mercy getting picked very early here.
That Mercy pick is going to be detrimental to them here.
Definitely Zan getting picked off, but Evercrom also getting booped off the map. I see a lot of blue in the kill feed, but also a lot of red. It's going both ways so far. Picks coming out left, light, and center, but it seems like the DPS line on Polar Chicken is just making the difference here. Finding all the picks necessary.
As soon as those healers were dead, the DPS line can do almost whatever they want, and there's nothing to stop them. Because once the healers aren't there, any damage they do to any of the players, that's permanent, and there's no way to heal it. So they can take their time and get the kills whenever they need.
Yeah, definitely. You can see Evercrom also making a lot of space a lot of the time, but as it's 33%, we're gonna see if Mock Player potentially can use his pal drive into mines to try to boop them off the counter, at least force them off. But he gets stuck, stunned up, and unfortunately dies, which is gonna be a disengage for Saturn here.
Yeah, and as soon as Saturn see that, they know that they can't go in, because the ball is meant to be the initiator, help to make the space along with that Tracer of Lord, and if they can't do that, if they can't do that 2-4 split, then there's no point going in.
Yeah, but Mock Player deciding to take another route here, rolling through the point, rolling Zarya forward, but not quite enough to burst her down. Still very healthy, but a good pulse bomb eat from Snow there. Mock Player using his pal dive, using his mind shot to force the people off the high ground, but the grab coming out here onto Snow, melting him down. But Mock Player and Lord do find the picks necessary, and a lot of ults are being thrown out here. They're trying to turn this now instead of later.
And this is exactly what we wanted to see. It's so back and forth between these two teams because they're both so good on their attacks with these dive heroes.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say they necessarily have standout players on the dive, but we're gonna see if any adaptations may be made or maybe not made.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's not one player just being the best. It's the fact that they have their team play and they use their abilities together to combo on dive one squishy target.
Yeah, definitely. They decide to use the rally to engage, but their Tracer gets picked up very early. Monkey is then trying to burst the Zen, but the Zen is just getting healing from the Mercy. Not finding, but a huge boop there. Unfortunately, not finding anything. With McCree falling the Snow's Diva Bomb there, he caught out Tainuni. But refrag coming in there on the Zen. And just Saturn just falling here one by one as Maxima just beaming everything here.
Yeah, absolutely. And as soon as that beam has come out from Maxime, they're extremely high charge currently. They can demech that Diva really quickly, and I don't think watch players can be much for the world. Oh, nope, they are gone immediately.
No, I would have hoped Mock player would have fallen back a bit because he would need to retouch this. Now it's the Tracer responsibility to touch this. And if Tracer can't get this touch, I don't think there's going to be anything done. But the overtime is triggered, the touch is being made, recall forced out early. But someone is going to have to retouch it. No scene, and the Mock player comes in, touching, just trying to stall it out, but he gets anti-need at half health. And ults are coming out. The Zenol came out very early, but Maxim yet again just beaming down the competition. Pulse Bomb not finding enemy. Evercome and Maxim just melting that, but Mock player trying to find the refrags onto the brig, but he gets slept in his minefield, but Maxim still beaming everything. The Diva Bomb not quite finding a pick.
And this is a very slow fight, but with Maxime at high charge the entire time, there's nothing that they can do to counter that.
Yeah, definitely. They didn't have a lot of things to shut down Maxime here. You were just beaming down the monkey. And as the monkey was diving in trying to burst targets, he was getting a lot of bubble energy. And he could keep this charge up. And as there was nothing that could really burst him, Mock player couldn't boop the Zarya far enough out of position where it was an easy target. So that was very good positioning for Maxim there.
Yeah, it was extremely well played, and I think that shows one of the main advantages of Double Bubble, is that it's not just trying to disrupt and isolate the enemies, you can also burst them down with the extremely high DPS of that Zarya. But we do come into University here, and we're seeing the quite typical brawl coming out from both sides.
Yeah, and we see the standard adaptations. We've seen Lord and Symmetra a lot, potentially trying to match the damage here, but still having the utility of Diva. Not a bad idea.
And we have the May of Fireman, which we've seen time and time again, has been amazing at cutting off enemies and isolating them, ready to kill them.
Yeah, and Saturn already grabbing control of Pointer, they're gonna have to run into them. But as they have this May, as you see here, they're just getting cut off. Lamp is being thrown out though, not finding anything, but Evercome just brawling into Mock player here. Valtrix finding a pick, but Sam finding a refrag on the other DPS. But Maxim is so high charge, he's just melting the barriers.
Yeah, they are making the most of this high charge Zarya against the Diva that can't block any of this beam damage.
Unfortunately, yeah, and big shadow, but the May well luckily saves them. But how long are they gonna save them? The Amplification Matrix coming out here, trying to turn the fight potentially, or just letting them re-engage. But it's everyone is not here, unfortunately. So they're gonna have to wait for the Diva and for the Lucio to return.
It was a really nice try, and it could have won them the fight potentially if they'd managed to get a fast strike onto a couple of the squishies. But that didn't happen, so they're going to have to push into this with their May.
Yeah, Amplification Matrix was thrown out, but they just pushed right past it. Good shatter coming out, denying the McCreel. And seems like Polar Chicken are just going to take this. The huge shatter.
Yeah, the shatter there completely won it. The May wall was used quite early on in that fight, and there wasn't much utility
Lord
from
is
it.
just trying to win this back. But no, unfortunately you get shut down by Alde PC.
And Sam's gonna be careful not to get staggered out here, because if they get staggered, that's another 10 seconds. The team's gonna have to wait before they push.
Fortunately it's a Reddit Lucio, so he can just parkour his way around the map.
And we love to see that. That is exactly what we want to see.
We love to see.
I haven't seen as much Reddit Lucioing today as we did on day one, but I hope to see some more.
Yeah, definitely. Evercome is gonna have to find a big shatter here, and he does! And the grab gets thrown into to just secure this.
Yeah, that was a beautiful shatter. You could see that the team wanted to push forward onto the May wall that was used extremely early, and it did cut off Avacrum really well. But as soon as Avacrum saw the
Diva, yeah.
That's unfortunate, and it happens quite a lot, but I think
it's a tournament match. Every second counts, and they're gonna have to take this 5v6. And Alde PC here, waiting around the corner to just pull out this Reaper ult. And the Diva not being close enough, he's just gonna be free. Not finding anything, but still forcing out the Lamp and the beat. Still finding Mok play the Dio Bomb is getting thrown out here just desperation. Every ult the map is gonna get thrown out here eventually. Lord trying to get in position to use his ult, he finds one, he finds two. And it seems like it's gonna be enough for them to take the cap.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that was just, I think that was 5 ultimates coming out for them. That it slowly managed to whittle away all the resources, all the health, and all the abilities of the opposing team, and they managed to win it out. But we do have a McCree ult coming out here, along with a Shatter from Avacron, which could just immediately turn this back.
Yeah, 2 ults here can potentially be just huge. If he high noons, he has to hold this barrier, otherwise he risks it, and Ryan can just push past the barrier and potentially finish it. But the big Mei wall coming out, the lamp is being thrown out, but this is gonna be enough to keep Evercrum alive. He gets stunned out of it, and the huge Rui Shatter just absolutely melting them. Mokplay really showing that he can also hit these huge shatters.
Yeah, that was a beautiful defense. They didn't rush too fast, and they waited until after that lamp had been used. And as soon as the lamp was over, the enemy team were reasonably low health, and there was a big shatter coming out. Beautiful play.
Anyone gonna see that Reaper run? They do, but the Reaper cannot escape. But it seems like he's gonna live. He gets a bubble, he gets them to... McCree is being pushed forward. Unfortunately, does not find anything. They have to buy amplifications being used, and this damage boosted Reaper is just getting a lot of damage in here. They push forward, try to defend the staggers.
I'm loving this Reaper come out from Lord. It's so good to just see them making the most of every little advantage that they can on this defense. Hiding behind the corners, using the amplification matrix. It's so useful for the team.
Yeah, Polar Magic is gonna have to pull out a miracle play here, but Saturn decided to have none of it, throwing out their Mei ult very early here.
Yeah, and the male, it's typically going to be quite a one fight unless there's some big support ultimates come out on the other side, which they didn't have. And we're going to the last fight territory for this round.
Yeah, Lord was being picked, but he's going to be back into this fight very fast. So as long as Saturn take this fight slow, not necessarily force it, it's going to be just fine. But the Lucio getting the overtime, but he costs him his life. This Mei wall comes up, and another player tries to touch. Grav is coming out, Shatter is coming out, Diva Bomb is coming out there. All the ults are coming out here. It seems like they are gonna turn it last fight here, even without the Lucio.
Yeah, that was just a really nice hold coming out, and we're going into a round 3 on Control, which we'll see on City Center.
Very close, 99 to 99 here.
Yeah, I'm loving seeing these fights because it's so much closer than some of our other matches, and you can see the skill from both teams, not just in their solo play, but in their team play, which you've said time and time again, is that they work so well together.
Yeah, definitely. They're really showing what they go for, and especially here when everything is on the line, it's a matter of first place or last place, and no one ever remembers the team that come in second place, so you gotta win it in this tournament.
Exactly, and we're seeing what looks like double bubble coming out from both teams, along with the Echo and the Tracer, which is quite typical, I think.
Yeah, just a mirror comp here. Seems like Saturn want to mirror what Polar Chicken is playing, but we're gonna see if they can execute it better or potentially not.
Yeah, and we see one dive coming in on Watch Player immediately.
Yeah, and they're already finding the pick. They already had this high ground, they have to dive into them, and now they can just use their high grounds to chase them back and find these 2 very fast picks. Like that 3 actually.
It was a really nice counter dive. So Watch Player was up on the high ground, didn't have to use any cooldowns once they were there, and you see Avacrom and the rest of them LDPC coming up as well to dive onto Watch Player, and then get counter dived immediately and bursted down.
Yeah, definitely. But here, after they have control of the high ground, they have to come to them, which is not great. But Mock Player just diving all the way into the background with Lord. Is that the right play here? We're about to find out. I don't think it quite was.
No, I think they were trying to play quite similar to the ball comp there, and I think they forgot that once you're on Winston and you dive in, you're stuck there for a good couple of seconds.
Yeah, that is true. Even though you have the bubble from the Zarya and your own bubble, it's not enough. But it seems like the picks are coming in anyway. It seems like they bought enough time.
Although they do lose control of the point, or they get a couple of picks, but they lose control of the point, and
yeah,
then...
but Maxim has a lot of charge and a lot of health. He can potentially just melt the competition here.
And just as you say that, Maxim dies.
Maxim does die. And Lord is coming out to clean it up here, but they do not have control of the point. It's still ticking in favor of Polar Chicken.
It is, and it looks like it's going to continue that way for a little while longer.
Definitely, Lord trying to turn it back, but doesn't seem like it's quite enough. The point is still in Polar Chicken's favor, so they're just trickling in, giving them more ult charge here.
Yeah, and we're going to have to see a full regroup coming out from Saturn here in order to push onto this point. I'm expecting we're going to see the copy coming out from LDPC here in order to defend their position on this point.
Yeah, definitely. And as Polar Chicken here has, well, control, it's gonna be easier for the Echo to try to find a copy.
Absolutely. I think it'll probably be on the Winston, but the Eclipse does have a Transcendence here to save themselves and their teammates.
Yeah, Fireman drops, but it's getting traded for all DBC. Both monkeys having a bit of a brawl here, but multi-PC potentially way too aggressive. The chance is being thrown out here to keep the supports alive in the back. A Mock player just trying to displace them. Sam finds another pick. Lord finds another pick too with the pulse bomb. And Evercom trying to use his primal to turn it. But they still have a control. These longer fights are still gonna go in Polar Chicken's favor. Even though they're losing out slowly, they still have control of this point. They're just slowly ticking. They have to end this fight fast.
And they're still losing out on people as well, so a lot of their players were getting eliminated, which means we might see a last minute push coming in from the opposing team.
Yeah, the point is still in Polar Chicken's favor. This is disaster. That fight lasted for so much longer than it needed to be. It's 94%, so now they have so many ults that they don't even need to use them. They can potentially just come in here, nano the monkey, get a pulse bomb in, and they can just win off of that.
Yeah, Pulse Bomb, hopefully we see something. We haven't seen many major Pulse Bomb kills yet this tournament, but I'm hoping we see a big one come out from Voltrix here, and it means that they'll probably win this map.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna see that. Pulse Bomb was found, but does not find a pick. Grav is being thrown out here. The nano on the monkey is being thrown out here. Fireman finding a pick, but Abercrombie trying to find a refrag, which he does. Still in the backline, finding the picks, but Lord is trying to make the difference.
And although Lord is making a difference here, Sam as well, this fight is very back and forth, and it's not going in the favor of Polar Chickens.
No, Maxime finds a pick here, but he gets refragged by a player there. And here in the last fight, it seems like Saturn has more ults, and they seem like they know what they need to do. If Fireman here in Echo finds a good copy, a Mock player can buy enough time, then Eclipse might get this chance, and it might just win the fight off of that.
Yeah, I think if they get this chance, then that should be the fight won for them.
Yeah, definitely. It's just about Mock player and Fireman finding enough time. But Maxim might throw out his guard, which he does just now. Potentially finding a pick. Does find a pick onto Lord, but the double monkey primals are being thrown out here. Trans does get online. They're not being used quite yet, but it's being thrown out now. That might just be enough with that to win this fight. But Maxim is still finding the picks, even though they did have a trans up. It was not quite enough.
Yeah, no, I think that trans was too little too late. Sam had fallen on the Brigitte just a couple of seconds before that trans came online, which was really unfortunate, and that was probably the main detriment to them winning this fight.
Overtime was being triggered, but Lord is gonna have to keep it up. Sam is on point trying to stall it, but Lord and the rest of the team have to come in here. We see a last minute swap here. Snow onto Ball having to be on this point, but the picks are being found. They're gonna have to put one person on the point, and you can see them rotating them well. One person in, one person out, one person in, one person out. But it might be too little too late as Snow falls here, and the people that can touch point are slowly being removed.
Yeah, that was a really nice attack from both teams onto the control points there, and we see Polar Chickens come out on top, but it was extremely close on all 3 rounds, and I'm hoping we're going to see more of that in the future of this game.
Yeah, definitely. It was 99 to 99 on almost every map here. That's very close all the way. And this is exactly what you want to see.
And that was a beautiful shadow coming out from Mock player there as the player of the game. Just after Avacrom had been frozen, they found a massive shadow.
If he didn't find that, they might have just lost the map a lot earlier than what they did.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's extremely crucial that they did, and it's extremely well played that they did as well. So we are going to move on to a hybrid next, and we're going to hope that we don't see King's Row again. Although I think both teams do like playing on that map.
Yeah, both teams have shown that their brawl is good. They have also shown that they know how to adapt. So we're gonna see if Saturn opts to go onto Eichenwald here. But
I mean, maybe we'll see a different one.
Yeah. And speaking of players, who do you think are the MVPs for both of these teams here?
Honestly, I think Maxime there for Polar Chickens has done it so well on that Zarya in the double bubble that every single time that they need to, they are already high charge and they are bursting down all of the backline of Saturn. It's so well played for Maxime to get their charge up in a situation where it's not always as easy because there's not a lot of spam coming in other than that echo. So it's so crucial that Maxime gets their charge so high, and they managed to multiple times. So for me, Maxime is right up there.
Yeah, definitely. Maxime is one of the top for sure. One of the top contenders for the MVP here, but I wouldn't say Saturn has as many standout players because they're all standout players in my eyes. They're all playing exceptionally well individually, and it's hard to point out one being exceptionally better than any other.
Yeah, I think Eclipse finding that pick on Gardens as in that first fight or the second fight, sorry, was so good, and Eclipse building up multiple transcendences extremely quickly here definitely helped them pull through a couple of fights. But I think for me, they probably haven't hit that MVP level yet because of that transcendence being a little bit too late. I think Fireman has played extremely well though.
Yeah, Fireman, Lord, and Mock Player are definitely the standout players in my eyes, but they're all playing on a very good level. It seems like we're getting a bit of a twist here. We're getting Numbani of all maps.
Numbani. So we've seen both of these teams play dive or on City Centre there on Oasis, and so I think who chose the map here? I think it was Saturn that chose the map.
Yes.
And they are good on the dive. They did lose out on Oasis, but it's possible that they think they have a better dive for Numbani. Maybe they have some set plays we might be seeing coming out, which would be extremely fun to watch.
Yeah, we might see that. And as we're talking about MVP, before we go onto this map, I just want to let the chat know if you have any current MVPs that you want us to know, that we want us to see, don't forget to type that into chat, as all of production is watching it, and we'll definitely keep your vote in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. If everyone could say who they think their MVP is, other than me and Urazi anyway, absolutely, we will keep that in mind. And we do have an MVP award for the end of the grand finals, and we will go into an interview with that MVP at the end of the day.
More than likely, yeah.
So coming out on the defense, what do you think's going on here then?
Well, we already see from Saturn a bit of that dive comp you're talking about, double bubble, and Eclipse getting this brig to just pocket him.
Yeah, Sam's going to be there just to make sure Eclipse stays alive, gets that transcendence, and then Eclipse can give that back essentially to Sam. But we have a Farah coming out here on the other side.
Yeah, Saturn doesn't really have a hit scan or anyone to deal with the Farah necessarily, so that Pharmacy might just be too much for Saturn to handle.
And they don't even know it's coming.
Yeah, necessarily. Already finding a pick on Eclipse.
And I think that the main thing that Brigitte can do to help support Eclipse there is to stun people and whip shot them away. But with the Farah, she's in the sky. She's never going to be close enough to the ground to get stunned. And I think that was the main pick to win them that fight.
Yeah, Fireman could not find that pick onto Ultra PC fast enough, and it just cost them. Eclipse fell very early, and the rest of the team fell after that as healing was reduced from that point on. A very fast cap here from Polar Chicken.
I'm expecting we're going to see more of the same here, just the Farah spamming in with the Winston taking control of this high ground.
Yeah, and you can see these differences between the teams. Mock Player, who decides the tempo of his team, is playing really aggro, really liking to dive and buy time, while Olivercrom just sitting in the back with his team, trying to just buy space where needed. You can see here, Mock Player just in the backline, trying to beam everybody, but he gets poked out by the Farah, who just deals so much damage boosted.
Yeah, and we get another pick out onto Eclipse, this time from the Tracer. And there was a nice attempt to counter dive there from Mock Player, because as soon as Abercrom dived in, they went. But we have a rally coming out in the end of this fight here.
Yeah, definitely. Rally is not necessarily bad, because now you're preparing for it, and everyone on your team gets some armor.
But that armor doesn't stay forever now, so it might even be possible that they don't keep this armor going into the next fight, especially now
Maybe.
Valtrix is being killed.
Yeah, Eclipse finding these opening picks again and again, really vital here. Just trying to buy time. Mock player on point alone might get picked off again, but he does have his primal. He's not gonna die. Both monkeys finding, but Eclipse finds another pick. Barrage coming in from the sky, trying to make a difference, finding 2 picks, finding 3 picks actually, and a very cheeky res here. That might be enough to just push the point all the way to the end. We're about to see.
Yeah, I think it will be. There we go. That res was extremely risky. If the Mercy had died there, that could have been the exact opposite result coming out for the team. But it worked out.
But with a lot of ults coming in here from Saturn, they can potentially just start holding it here on 3rd point, which is very common for the defending team.
Yeah, absolutely. Pushing all the way through Numbani is extremely difficult because this last point is so easy for defenders to play. And you can play it like a control map, where you just rotate your ultimates on the defense.
Yeah, definitely, but they're getting a lot of free distance here. Grav comes in, but Mock player falls so early there. That's not what you want to see. But the Lord is still finding the picks in the Grav. And Sound just cleaning it up. Sorry, and just staggering the Mercy.
Yeah, this is a really unfortunate stagger on the Mercy. That takes another 10 seconds off of the clock. And the Tracer's still in the backline. Valtrix is still trying to get out.
Oh, the recalls back. He might get staggered out here actually. Just decides to call it a day and falls off the map.
So that took another 20 seconds off of the point before Valtrix can get back. But I think
the stagger wasn't bad enough.
Although Mock player did die extremely early, they took a lot of the attention and created a lot of space. And Winston feeding, Winston dying in these dives isn't the end of the world. Winston's not the main DPS. You want to make space for your Echo to get picks, which is exactly what Fireman
you
did
can
there.
also not die that early on. Mock players died very early in this fight, but he is making a lot of space to be fair. It does pulse bomb getting negated by the rest there, unfortunately. Got Eclipse finding the opening pick again, but the Pharah deciding to take it in their own hands. 2 ults being thrown out, finding 1 pick each. Just brawling on point here, copying the Echo, finding a pick there, just diving, trying to kill everything here.
And I think we've seen this before, is Eclipse getting the Transcendence in time, but not using it before a couple of members of his team have died first.
Yeah, definitely, you gotta use that early on so your members don't die. You can't use it afterwards.
Yeah,
That's not Mercy 1.1.
Yeah, sadly it's not Mercy from the original balance of it.
Yeah, unfortunately. But we're gonna see what they do here. They use rally preemptively, but Monkey just gonna hold them and spawn here. Are they gonna be able to come up? They are. The grabbing from out Snow is probably gonna get bursted here in a second. Actually does live, and it's actually Maxim who gets killed by Fireman. Very good pick here, but the rest does come out for Maxim, as Evercrum does find the pick on the break. And then find the pick on Eclipse. It's just 1 by 1. The members of Saturn are dying.
Yeah, we see this again. It's just the really slow spam. Although they don't win out the fight in the first couple of picks, they slowly get the picks over time with this Pharah doing a lot of spam damage.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the Pharah was a really good pick here for Polar Chicken, seeing as Saturn really like the slow brawl that are just holding these angles and then all-inning. The Pharah is really good, because there's no one who can ever deal with it. Echo can be classed as a counter, but that Echo has to find a miraculous pick in that case. And so far, the only one has found miraculous picks on Saturn is Eclipse.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Eclipse right now is doing some of the most damage here, which is extremely unfortunate for their team. That the DPS aren't really picking up the slack on that defense.
No, not really. But hopefully Eclipse can keep popping off on this Zen, and hopefully we're gonna see... Well, I'm not sure if we're gonna see the defensive Pharah here. It's not that common, but you never know.
I mean, it looks like they're pulling all the way out of spawn on it, so I think they're going to stick with it, which is quite risky to go with the Pharah, because we're well aware that Lord is a really good McCree. And,
yeah, Lord is a really good McCree.
And Lord can go back into the spawn, switch to McCree, and take out the Pharah reasonably quickly. And without the Pharah, if the res is stopped, that's pretty much it for the DPS, unless Maxine can get extremely high charge.
Yeah, then McCree, it's gonna be hard to get him in a position where he can free shit at this Pharah. Pharah can just hold these angles on these high grounds, and the tank can just deny all that space. So we're gonna see what Lord does here, trying to deny that Pharah.
Already gets a couple of hits onto the Pharah as they go reasonably low health there.
Yeah, definitely, but it's gonna be hard for them to take this high ground as Pharah can just spam for free on the high ground here. But Snow actually already finding a pick, which is really good here for the attacking team. Mob player using this aggro to try to burst the Mercy. Jumping in, but the Pharah just spamming them on the high ground. Lord finding a really good pick on Aldrich. And the Mercy falls shortly after. And it seems like they're gonna get the first cap just as fast as Polar Chicken did.
Yeah, we are seeing extremely fast caps from both teams. Voltrix doesn't even want to try and contest. Maybe they're going to go back and switch character. Well, they got sent back to spawn, but not in the way they wanted.
Yeah, definitely. And we see swaps coming out here from Aldrich PC on Hanzo and the Mercy going to Ana here. Why is that, do you think?
So I think the Mercy going to the Ana is extremely useful for slightly more heal output, and they can stay further back, so they don't have to be as close. There were a couple of times there when Fantrian went quite far into the enemy backline. So I think this Ana also allows for the nano boost, which is extremely useful on especially the Winston.
Yeah, Mob player's already in the backline, already finds a pick jumping in alone, but he jumps back and even finds a refrag on Abercrom. That's 2 picks for nothing, and they're gonna get to push this payload for free for a really long distance. I'm expecting Mob player to just jump in by himself, yeah, exactly what I expected here, pop a bubble. And there's just these 2 people pushing the payload. It's gonna be a last fight territory here for this second point.
Yeah, I think so. Just as I was saying, Fantrian could spend a little bit more time slightly further back. That's when they get dived, and that's when they die. So I'm sorry for caster cursing you there, Fantrian. We see Valtrix here going for a high ground push with the McCree.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a McCree duel going on there. High Noon finding a pick, and it's just clean up here. Monkey in the background just zapping everything, but Valtrix finding a pick on the McCree, but it's too little, too late.
And we see that was an even faster push through second point than the other team there, and I think we're going to see quite big time banks for both teams here.
Yeah, definitely. Just having 15 more seconds here might not be that big of a difference, but when it's overtime and you have to push it, 15 seconds can make or break a push. Every second matters in Overwatch.
Absolutely, especially to get those ultimates up, which is the real bane of any overtime push.
Yeah, Mock player getting some armor from the Briggle and then jumping in the backline. The Abercrom here on Ryan just getting bursted so fast, can't do anything but hold this barrier, but Mock player doesn't care about your barrier, can just zap you through it, and Snow just melting it. He's potentially getting a record time here on Numbani.
That is the fastest time I've ever seen anyone cap Numbani at all. That was a really, really nice push.
Production can quote me on that, but this might have been one of the fastest pushes I've ever seen on this map. It may not be a world record, but it's damn close, if anything.
Yeah, it's got to be up there, because I think they won every single fight on that push there. Correct me if I'm wrong. But...
yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they won every fight, while Polar Chicken lost a few, and you can see the deficit there in the time bank. It's 2 minutes versus 4 minutes and 26 seconds.
That's a long time, and like you said, once it gets to overtime, if they don't have time to build up those ultimates, there's not much that they can do on the attack here for I completely forgot the team name, but for the red team.
Yeah, for Polar Chicken here.
Polar Chicken, thank you. It's been a long day.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We've been here a long time. All of production is gonna be here a while, but it's an interesting match. We're on our second map so far. We're gonna see in which favor it's going to be, and we're potentially in for a long match here.
Yeah, I think this could almost go the distance, because we are seeing extremely good play from both sides as a team. But it looks like they've pulled out the McCree here on Polar Chicken's side, as well as Saturn, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, I think Saturn is expecting a Pharah here again, and they have Lord here just as a counter to that, potentially.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, but they don't have that rolling out off spawn. They have the Echo instead.
Yeah, they have the Echo there and the McCree. We're gonna see how that's gonna work for them, as they have pretty much a mirror comp here going against each other.
I think it's going to be down to Maxime here to get as high percentage chars as they can, so they can really DPS anyone on the other team.
Definitely, but as I say that Eclipse and Aerochrome get traded for each other. The picks are coming back, Maxim gets a pick with a DPS drop. It's just about Maxim trying to get as much value here as possible. He's the only real DPS left, but he is doing just what I said. He's using the Discord and he is finding these picks slowly. But that might be just enough.
Yeah, although they lost their Echo. Honestly, when Maxim is that high charge and when you've got Fandrian on that Zenyatta, which I don't think we've seen them on before, you have a lot of DPS coming out, even without the DPS characters.
Yeah, definitely. Maxim being 2/3 to his grab already and a really fast cap here, but it's problematic still for Polar Chicken here as they have to push it all the way to second point in 1 minute and they can't really afford to let go a point. And all Saturn need to do is wipe them once the time banks up. So I'm hoping they... Oh, actually, yet again, Eclipse finding a massive pick here.
Yeah, Eclipse once again showing that prowess on the Zenyatta, just getting loads of picks, the first thing. It's almost like they don't expect it, even though it's happened multiple times now.
Yeah, Eclipse just putting on a show, quite frankly, for us here. Saying, like, I'm a sniper too, I can just take care of anyone in your backline.
And we just have to hope he gets the Zenyatta Transcendence online, ready for the grab of Maxim here.
Yeah, he's damn close. We're gonna see if he's gonna stall it again or use it. Seems like he stalled it a bit this time again, but he used it to save everyone in the grab. But the counter chance is coming in now, and the second chance might be fatter. Rally's coming in for both teams. Eclipse being found by Maxim very early, and Maxim yet again just beaming everything and everyone.
Maxim's already a third of the way to the next grab there already.
Yeah, definitely, but there's a problem now. This is it. They have to win the fight here, and they've already used the rally. Oh no, it's the... my bad, it's the Echo rally, which I'm not sure if the armor remains. It seems like it does.
It does, that's actually a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, but we have some ults coming out here from Saturn, and if they can get all their members back, as Snow died, I'm not sure he's gonna be back in time here to use his grab.
I don't think he will be, because they don't have a Lucio to get him back quicker, so they might actually give up this point here.
Yeah, not a bad idea here, deciding not to give them any more ult charge than they already have, just deciding to wipe them here on second point, or third point I should say.
Exactly, and here we go, they're going for it now.
Grab being fronted, absolutely huge grab here. But Mock player gets traded here. McCreel being thrown out, just finding anything, but the rest of the members on Saturn just absolutely melting them. Really good call on waiting, letting them get that second point, but just as they got it, as Snow was back with that grab, just throwing it out there.
Absolutely, I think that was a really nice play as well, because they weren't expecting it. Usually if someone gives you the point, you don't expect them to dive on you immediately as you cap the point. So I think the part of the reason they did it was because they just weren't expecting it at that moment. They maybe waited until they, or were thinking they were going to wait until they were around the corner.
Yeah, they felt like, oh, okay, we just got the cap, so we get this distance for free, it's fine. But what they don't realize is they're in overtime. It's still very much a threat, and they can't just back off from point. They have to fight it then and there.
Exactly, and that was just a really, really nice grab coming out from Snow there.
Yeah, definitely. And a really good call from whoever said that we should not take this fight. Wait for Snow to get here. We can turn this with Grav. Really good decision making here from Saturn.
And now they have almost 5 minutes to push it equally as far. And that's without overtime.
Yeah, without overtime, and I'm pretty sure they get 30 more seconds if they cap first point.
I'm not sure, but I guess we'll hopefully see if they manage to do it here. But we have a Brawl coming out on the defense.
Yeah, potentially trying to hold very close and just potentially camp somewhere and just win this first fight and then snowball from that first fight, potentially. We're gonna see how that goes from them.
I would expect so, because if everyone's playing really close together, there's no one for the dive to isolate. So I think that's what we should see here from them.
Potentially, yeah, the Reaper, a counter to Mox. Winston, who has been putting in a lot of work, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
And Mock player already being bursted down so low now, and everyone on Saturn so extremely low. Maxim finding a pick already, yes, the lamp dies. Maxim finding 2 actually. We get to refrag for the Ryan, but Maxim keeps getting these picks, keeps getting this ult charge. It's already on 43%.
And same with the Reaper as well, they're doing extremely well. Avacrom's got 50% to their shatter. Although, have a look over the attack side.
Yeah, definitely. My player got so much ult charge there, Sama. He did zap the entire enemy team for a really long time, so you might potentially, in these next few fights, find that. But we see a swap coming out here from Saturn.
They're using the enemy team's own strategy against them here, and I think that's quite a good idea because they probably won't be expecting it.
Yeah, definitely. If my player jumps in here, he's gonna get his primal. And when he gets that primal, the Pharah is just gonna be able to free shoot, as you can see. Pharah coming in from behind here, just getting free damage now, finding a pick already, finding two actually. And it's just now able to spam. Really good rotation coming out here.
Yeah, that was honestly a really good plan. Have the main group of people, the main four, charging up through that choke point, distract them two tanks, Maxi Minerva Chrom, and make them face away from where the Pharaoh is going to come. Pharaoh comes in, spams the back, and both of them die immediately. The front line's dead, the rest of the team dies shortly after that.
Yeah, seems like no time was added, that was my bad. But yeah, we're gonna see how this Pharah is gonna work for them. They have Grav coming up, they have McCreel coming up, and they have... well, they have 4 ults coming up here in a second.
Yeah, and I think what I'd want to see from Polar Chickens is holding on to a couple of their ults, so that they can then come back in overtime and win them.
Yeah, but they might not even need to do that huge shatter. Yeah, they're finding 2 picks instantly. Lamp not coming out in time, unfortunately, from Eclipse.
Yeah, Eclipse was there, and there's a couple of times when Eclipse is a little bit late with either his Transcendence or his Lamp to save his team, and I think that's one of the things they definitely need to work on. But we might be getting a Mercy Stagger here out on Sam.
Well, it depends how fast Sam's movement is, and unfortunately, he is gonna live.
Well, Aldi PC is still going for it and decides to back off now.
Yeah, well, that's Wraith already being used, but now they have 2 minutes to push it all the way to the end, and with a lot of ults coming out here. McCree ult here coming out, trying to turn it, not enough, but Barrage finds so much here.
But there's quite a few refrags coming on the side of Aldi PC.
Yeah, definitely, but a lot of ults being used here, they just want to push this to the end. It seems like Fireman is just gonna... well, actually, Valtrex finding the picks there. They have to give up point, but... yeah, okay. Lord does finally take care of Valderic, and a swap is coming out here for the Echo. But so far it seems like they're pushing with a lot of momentum here. They still have a whole minute to push it to the end.
And there's probably last fight territory in this minute, so I think that Echo... oh, they've swapped back over to Tracer to get back to point quicker and hopefully get an early pick on one of these squishies, maybe Eclipse.
Yeah, we're gonna see how that works out for them, but they used the Amplification Matrix, deciding to wait it out instead. Not a bad play, I'd say.
Yeah, they've got time, why not just wait a couple of minutes, or not a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds, wait for it to go, and then you can win out the fight here.
Yeah, definitely, but now we're in last fight territory as they waited. If they don't win this fight, that's it. And Eclipse yet again finding this opening pick, even on the Baptiste here. Lamp being from that Eclipse, killing the enemy Lamp. The Mok player, just a battle of the tanks here. Shatter finding picks, but not enough. Lamp comes out there with the recharge coming in, and a pick for Saturn here. High Noon is being used, but I'm not sure it's gonna find anything through that barrier. Unfortunately, it does not find anything. Last fight coming out there, but Pharah is just putting in the work, beginning the damage, but Maxim takes care of that. Lord refragging, not player refragging, and they push into the checkpoint. Rez is coming out for Fireman here, and Fireman just barrages to close it up.
And there we go, this should be them capping the point here once Avacrom is down.
Yeah, definitely, and here we see the push to the end. As Saturn take home the second map.
And that was an extremely exciting map. Again, we're seeing how close these two teams are. It's not just like a 2-0 like we see with other teams. It's so close. And we have Fireman getting the play of the game here on that Farah, which I think is well deserved.
Yeah, definitely. Putting in the work here with this barrage, really turning it around. This fight lasted a little bit too long for my taste, but if it works, it works.
Yeah, it worked at the end of the day, and I think one thing I want to point out about that barrage is they hid behind the pillar whilst barraging because the McCree ult was going on, and they wanted to try and avoid it, which I think was really clever of them, just to have that minute positioning, make that difference.
Yeah, definitely. Then we also see here, both teams not afraid to experiment with their comps, not just sticking to what they know work. They're willing to change out to this far. They are willing to change the tanks, the DPS, to whatever is needed to just close this out, to win this.
Absolutely, and I think that's extremely clever of both teams to make sure that they're doing that they're not just sticking with what they know and what they consider themselves good at. They are experimenting and they're taking on comps from each other, like the Pharaoh that came out from Saturn at the end there. That was actually used by Polar Chickens first on Numbani, so I think that was quite clever to use their own comp against them there.
Yeah, definitely. Very interesting. Well, play on the comp, I'd say. I'm not sure they would have pulled that out if Polar Chickens wouldn't, but it worked for them ultimately.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we are going into Junkertown as our third map for Escort. So it's the first Escort map that I've been able to cast, and Junkertown's a good one.
Yeah, I really like Junkertown because I love seeing snipers. I love to see the Widowmaker just make these plays. And Junkertown being one of the best Widow maps in the entirety of Overwatch. We're probably going to see some of that.
Yeah, I really hope so. I think the Widowmaker here could be extremely good on both attack or defense because you can take up so many different angles to make the most of those long distances on the first point. It's just as good as Havana first point for a double sniper comp potentially.
Yeah, definitely. I'm hoping to see these Widow duels for sure. But
Yeah.
we're going to see if the teams opt to do that or they're just going to opt to play the meta. We're about to find out.
Yeah, we'll find out in a couple of minutes. Some of the teams just need a little bit of a break, so we'll be back in the game in a little bit. But I do want to say that I'm so glad that these maps are going back and forward because I think this is really what we needed in the grand finals to make it so exciting.
Yeah, definitely. The redemption story here for Saturn, who got knocked out really early in 2-0. But here they're showing that we can take at least one map off of you, and we're going to bring it to the end, and we're going to make it close at the very least.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to the MVP conversation, do you have anything from that map that you'd like to bring up for the MVP?
Well, from Saturn, who else can I nominate other than Eclipse? Just
Honestly.
always finding the first pick. Doesn't matter if he's on Zen, who can easily find these first pick. Doesn't matter if he's on the Baptiste. He still finds these picks. He still finds these early picks, and the 5v6 is just so interesting.
Yeah, I think the picks, but so they're not just getting the picks. A lot of the time they are getting these picks, and it's extremely useful for the team. But they're healing in the crucial moments as well. And I love seeing the Zenyatta Transcendences coming a little bit earlier, which really helped the team survive a lot longer in those fights to win them out.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any MVP nominations on Polar Chicken?
Well, so I think Polar Chicken is extremely hard to do that for because they play so well together as a team. I think LDPC played extremely well, same as Valatrix. We're seeing a lot of pop-off potential from them both, which is really nice.
Yeah,
I've
definitely.
actually just got a friend request from Eclipse. I wonder if that's because I'm being so nice to them. Who knows?
Potentially, yeah.
But yeah, I think Polar Chickens is honestly. I think I want to nominate their coach because their coaching is extremely good to get them to work together in this level of team. What about you?
Yeah, I think definitely. It's not just teams coming up with strats. Like from a viewer's perspective, that might be what is the case. That is just the coaches that are making the difference. Like teaching these teams how they need to play, while the players themselves just knowing how to play on an individual level.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'm not sure if we're allowed to interview the coaches, but if we could get behind the idea of how, if we can get behind the idea of how these teams play, and it seems like Eclipse is actually female. We apologize
Oh,
for
we've
that.
misgendered. Sorry, that is our
Yeah,
bad.
we misgendered. We're sorry, Eclipse, but we're gonna say you had a lot of pop-off performances, and we really hope to see more of it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm excited to see what comes out from Polar Chickens here because Valatrix has shown they're extremely good on the McCree. So potentially we'll see the Widowmaker coming out for them. And I'd love to see that the same pop-off potential that they have on the McCree coming out onto the Widowmaker on Junkertown.
Yeah, I really hope to see this 1v1 between Lord and Valtrix, who can carry the match harder on the Widow.
Absolutely. And I think that's going to be the main part of this third map.
Yeah, definitely. And as I'm a Widowmaker player myself, the more 360s I see, the flashier plays I see, the more points you get with me. So if you're listening to the stream, just make it as flashy as possible, and you'll get points from us casters for sure.
Well, I'll leave that to you. I quite like seeing support play because I'm a support player, personally. But if you can do any 360s or any nice hook shots, then that would be extremely nice to see. If you want to get in the contest for this MVP award at the end of the tournament.
Yeah, definitely. And ultimately, we can put out our opinions here, but ultimately, it's going to be Twitch chat who decides who the MVP is going to be and who we're going to interview. If it's going to be a coach, it's going to be a coach. If it's going to be a DPS, tank, or support player, it's going to be a DPS, tank, or support player. But it seems like we're going into Junkertown now.
So Twitch chat, make sure you keep on telling us who you think should be at the top of our MVP list. And once we send out the poll during the last map of this match, we'll see who comes out on top.
Yeah, definitely. Seems like we are, or the match hasn't quite started yet.
Yep, we just have everyone rolling out on some potentially meme picks just before the game starts properly.
Or maybe you do some mind plays and roll out on your actual comp here to throw off the enemy.
Maybe, yeah, maybe the Doomfist is going to come out on a Junkertown attack. I don't see that often, but maybe it's a niche pick for this team.
If it works, it works.
Yeah, and I don't think we've seen Junkertown in this tournament so far at all. So we don't actually know what's going on with these two teams unless you have any inside info on their scrims.
Unfortunately, I do not have contact with their coaches, and I have not watched any of their scrims. But I see a Widow from Valtrix here, and I'm very excited.
And that's exactly what we want. But we have a Brawl comp coming out here on the defense. What do you think of that?
Well, if they're running a Brawl, it's gonna force Valtrix to swap off, which is not great in my book. Because the Widow cannot really find picks through barriers, which is unfortunate. But it seems like we might get a pirate ship comp here potentially, while Saturn is gonna try to spawn camp them, not letting the Bastion set up on point, which is not a bad idea to be fair.
It's not a bad idea, but the Bastion in the spawn can still do a lot of damage to someone trying to spawn camp them. Although they've switched off of it and they've gone for double sniper.
Oh hell yeah, this is exactly what I want to see, but that might be a bit of a rude awakening here. I'd say they pushed out a little bit too early. They could have waited for them to leave spawn and then brawl into them, but you know,
they've
whatever.
already used some crucial cooldowns there.
Yeah, now they're just getting these off angles. And they can only commit to one angle, and as they did not burst anyone, that's not really huge value. But as I say that, Fireman does find a good pick onto the Hanzo. And we're seeing spam carrot being picked here. We have a Junker who's just gonna spam them out slowly over time. And we see a McCree here who's just gonna flashbang them.
Yeah, and they're taking the high ground this time round to get more spam to deplete this shield of this Reinhardt, so they might be able to get some damage into the rest of the team.
Definitely, this Junkrat is still spamming, melting these barriers slowly and slowly as people are on the high ground. They don't really have anywhere to go, but this comp has already bought an entire minute and the point hasn't moved 1 meter so far.
And that's an unfortunate kill onto Eclipse, because now that's some of the damage gone and there's a lot less healing coming out without them there.
Yeah, definitely, but they're still stalling the point, as you say this. Even though they've lost people, they're still brawling on point. They just want to buy as much time as possible.
And with the D-Mech and the Rhine falling, I think that's probably it for the main part of the stall here.
Yeah, definitely, but it took them 1 minute and 20 seconds for them to push out, and I'd say their ults are relatively even. Actually, no. Forget that.
We see a lot of swaps coming out here.
Yeah, Polo Chicken with a lot of ult, and I finally see what I want to see. I see the Widow here.
So this Widow coming into the end of first point and potentially second point. It's not as good on second point as first point, correct?
No, yeah, of course. But as you can see, on first point, very strong here. Already finding a pick on Mock player. Potentially not expecting the Widow swap.
Yeah, maybe they didn't press tab to have a look, but we've got Eclipse back on the Zen, which she's shown she's extremely good at, to get a pick, potentially, against this Widow, along with the Tracer.
Potentially, yeah, but the McCree ult is being used here, and they're just C9ing the point. They have to come in to touch, but as they're coming in to touch, they just get high noon.
Yeah, that was a really nice high noon, just to stop them from being able to contest. I really like that use of it, because it's not often you see it used to get a 5k, like Mick did in that highlight video.
Yeah, well, Mick might have got a really good play, but these are some 5-head McCree ults here.
Yeah, being able to stop the team from touching, I think that's a better use than going for a 5k with it, because at the end of the day, you can then kill the rest of the team to get more ult charge on yourself and the rest of your team.
That is very true. And we see Voltrix here swapping off the Widow, going on the Tracer, and we have Lord still in spawn. So it might just be a one-fight deal here, as there have 4 people pushing the payload, almost all the way to the end.
And Voltrix is going a very long flank here to come up behind Lord.
Definitely. With a huge Sigma ult here, finding most of Saturn here, finding a 3k.
And this is the fact the momentum is going to carry them all the way through this point.
Yeah, definitely. So far we've seen on these payload and hybrid maps that the attacking team seems to win out most of the time.
Yeah, maybe we need to have a word with the coaches about teaching them how to play defense as well as attack.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's not just about attacking. Like, your attacking may be the best in the world, but if you can't defend, the enemy team are just gonna roll you just as hard as you roll them.
Exactly, and that's what we've seen on both Numbani and we're seeing that on Junktown currently as well.
Yeah, definitely. But potentially on third point here with 4 minutes, they may be able to hold them for a long time. But Mock player here going in by himself, getting discorded and just melted here.
That seems like it was a bit of a miscommunication because the Tracer was way too low to do anything in that fight, and Mock player dived in by themselves, which a Winston, although they might be able to get some damage done, is going to die quite quickly.
That is very true. We see a bit of a swap here, deciding to go for the brawl instead, but against this double shield you have to close the distance, which is going to be exceptionally hard in this just straight line here, without taking a lot of poke.
Yeah, unless they manage to use the some of the rooms to one of the sides, they're going to get spammed down so much, and Mock player's going extremely low already.
Yeah, his barrier is very low. They're using this Mei wall to run in closer. Mock player isn't brawling distance, but they're just slowly backing out. They don't have to fight on payload. They have so much time. They can just wait for them to get lower and wait for these mistakes being made and find those picks. This McCree ult from the back, not finding anything unfortunately due to the lamp, but it might just be enough as the health bars on Saturn are extremely low here. Sigma ult being used here, bringing them all really low, and it's gonna be a 2k here, exact 2k. Finding the picks here. That might just be enough to push it all the way.
Yeah, so we might potentially get a stall pick coming out, but it's unlikely Sam's going to be able to do much on that Lucio to survive.
He might be able to stall, but how long is he gonna be able to stall is the question. They are putting these people on point one by one. But is it gonna be enough? Amplification matrix coming out there, McCree and the high gun still spamming and Voltrix just finishing up all the low health targets. Pulse bomb being massive here, finding 2 people. And that's the end of first point.
Yeah, and I think I really want to give a shout out to Maxime again, because Maxime not just getting high charge on the Xayah, but getting multiple picks with all of these Gravitic Fluxes after extremely important cooldowns like the Immortality Field have been used.
Yeah, Maxime really putting in the work here on the off tank. On D.Va is not really doing as much, but D.Va isn't as much of a carry character. But here on these carry off tanks, he's doing so much work here, absolutely making the difference here.
Yeah, so I think Maxime is probably the standout player for now, at least. We'll see what they can do on the defense, though.
Yeah, definitely.
So what are you expecting to come out? Are you expecting Widow, or are you just hoping for it?
Well, you know me, I always hope for the Widow, but if I can actually see it, this is gonna be fun. You can see Voltrix actually opting for the Widow early on here. Not sure if they're gonna stick to it.
It looks like they're rolling out of spawn on it. And they have LDPC on the McCree, which I'm not sure if I've seen them on before.
Yeah, that's very interesting from them. But we're gonna see how that's gonna work for them.
I was honestly expecting the Hanzo to come out for LDPC, I think, because they seem to be the projectile player on the team. So that's a little bit interesting, but McCree, if you can learn him, reasonably okay. And Voltrix here is going for a nice aggressive pick, I think, with the hook shot.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna see how that's gonna work for them. Snow blocking this early damage, but Sam being already really low from that body shot from Voltrix. We're gonna see this Widow duel coming out here, which Widow can find the opening pick earlier. It might even be Eclipse for all I know that finds the opening pick, but they are getting distance here and pushing a lot further than Polar Chicken pushed on their first attack.
Absolutely, they're starting to hold. They're starting to pull back, not just hold, but pull back extremely far, and give all this space to Saturn.
Yeah, definitely. They're just waiting for Valtrix to find the opening pick. They're just slowly backing out, but it doesn't seem like it's quite working for them. Not finding the picks he needs, but as I say that, he finds a very good pick on Lord and picks up Fireman.
Yeah, just the snipers are coming into work here. It's extremely nice to see these two snipers play against each other and take these quite aggressive angles on the side of Lord.
Yeah, definitely. But as I say that, Eclipse finds finds a pick again.
And that's exactly what we want. Who needs to have a Widowmaker on Sniper if you've got a really good Zenyatta?
Yeah, definitely. Zenyatta can put out just as much damage as any other sniper on a distance. We see all DPC swapping to the Hanzo here for that double sniper comp.
Yeah, and this also puts a lot more shield pressure onto the shields of Orisa and Sigma with the Hanzo Storm Arrows, which I think is quite a good idea.
Yeah, Lord and Valtrix taking a bit of a duel here. We're gonna see who wins that in a bit as the brawl is just happening up point. Lord trying to find a pick on the flank angle, but it doesn't seem like he's gonna find anything. Valtrix though finds a pick on the other sniper on Saturn's team, Eclipse, with Fireman. Chase it back.
It's just going back and forth.
Yeah, huge Sigma ult, but the Trant is being used, so no one is gonna drop to that. Lord not really finding a lot of picks here. I can see Sigma ult being cancelled instantly here by Snow. Really good job there.
Yeah, I think Maxime went a little bit too aggressive there. I don't think they even needed to use the ultimate because the fight was already won.
Yeah, a bit weird here with the Widow ult being used on defense early here. You usually want to wait for the attacking Widow to pop theirs, which gives the attacking team a huge advantage, and then wait and use yours to counter it. But being used here early, it might give a huge advantage to Lord here on the attack, if he can charge it up.
Yeah, as soon as that gets charged up, you're right, it's going to give a huge advantage. Or,
It's not going to give a huge advantage if he's dead.
absolutely, as soon as they're dead, that's it.
Yeah, definitely. But we still have the two snipers on Saturn, we have Eclipse and we have Fireman, so we're gonna see how that's gonna work for them. But it seems like Snow decided to take it into their own hands. Going in, just shooting his orbs at them, trying to get all the damage he possibly can. But Valtrix still finding these picks, getting yet another Widow ult.
Yeah, these ults are being charged extremely quickly. You just know they're doing so much work on that Widowmaker.
Yeah, but Lord actually finding the pick on Valtrix there instead. And Lord actually putting in some work now. Very good job from him.
Although I think the defense is still going to win out this fight.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna see about that, but Lord gets picked off and it's just Eclipse here, the lone sniper, trying to do everything he can.
And we see quite an aggressive push up here from LDPC behind the Baptiste of Sam.
Yeah, and he gets it. You can see Eclipse here being so far forward, trying to do everything he can, but he just gets picked off by the actual sniper on Polar Chicken.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like this defense might be being held here because they have a lot of ultimates to use in this final fight.
Yeah, potentially. Polar Chicken just deciding to hold it here. I'm not even sure they're gonna get a touch. One player trying to get a touch. Seems like he is going to get the touch. Lord finding a really good pick here. Sigma ult is being used, not gonna find anything unfortunately. With a counter ult coming out, they're doing a lot of damage. Someone's gonna have to touch, and unfortunately it's Eclipse with really low, but he does have a chance. He can buy a lot of time here, but someone else is gonna have to touch after him. That's Maxime. You're just finding these picks. There's just Snow left here.
Yeah, and I think Maxime played so well on that Sigma, which we don't often see from them, but that was extremely good play with those Gravitic Fluxes to win out those fights.
Yeah, definitely. And we can see here Maxim getting play of the game. Potentially, this is his Gravitic Flux. Yeah, finding a lot of value here. Just melting the enemy team, getting them all really low. And this as well let them push forward with so much time.
Yeah, and that was a really, really dominant hold from them there to hold them so far forward without needing to spawn camp them. I think I was a bit wary of them giving so much space off of the first half of First Point. But as soon as that field opened up, as soon as it was just a long way for them to push to get to the final checkpoint of First Point, you could just see Valatrix just popping off on that Widowmaker, getting multiple picks. LDPC switching over the Hanzo and getting a lot of kills on that as well.
Yeah, definitely. And these MVP nominations are just going back and forward. And like, do you want to describe what you feel like are the MVP nominees and why not?
Yeah, so for me at least right now, I've got to say Maxime is right up there as an MVP nominee. I think their play has been so good to not only to get loads of kills, but also to control. A lot of the off tank position is used to control the enemy team, and that's one thing that Maxime does extremely well. Is they're not just fighting up there with their main tank; they're taking off angles, they're going aggressive, and they're controlling where the enemy team can place themselves. So I think right now, Polar Chickens is MVP for me. Would be Maxime. I think Voltrix did extremely well on the Widow, and I'm sure you think that that is the main standout for them. But Maxime played so well for a little bit there. And we are going to Hanamura as our 2CP. This is the first 2CP we've seen in our tournament so far. And we're going to Hanamura for it. So typically on the defense, there's a lot of different things you can play here. But I think the attack, I'm personally expecting some cheese to come out. Wish Sam was here for it. Currently, Urizu's taking a little bit of a break. He'll be back in a second, so it's just me. So you're gonna have to listen to my voice, just my voice for a little bit. But we'll see what the defense is rolling out with here. And it looks like we're going to see quite a typical defense here. We have the Ryan Zaya, which these two have been extremely good on it. Snow and Mock Player been so good on this Ryan Zaya. And we have the Mei. The main choke point on this map, just right there where Mock Player is looking right now, it's extremely easy for a Mei to wall that off, and it means that one or two of the enemy team could get trapped.
Yeah, definitely. And very interesting team comps coming in from both teams here.
I'm not expecting this Doomfist to stay unless they're sticking with the Sim. Maybe they want to get a couple of early picks.
No, it seems like we're getting a Mei here, potentially just trying to TP to point from Polar Chicken, then using the Mei and using the Sim to just be a presence on point and being really hard to push into.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's what's exactly going to happen here. The teleport's up,
but they TP right into them, and Mock Player gets so much damage and finds 2-3 picks here very early on, and getting so much ult charge. You can see Mock Player already has his ult.
They already have a shadow coming into the first fight, and I think after that Sim strat doesn't work, you switch off immediately, almost out of shame that it didn't work.
Yeah, the Sim placement wasn't great as they TP'd right into Mock Player's hammer, where he could just swing 3 times and he got his shatter up. So he can potentially just turn around, as Evercom has almost no ult charge here.
Yeah, and I think we might see an extremely aggressive one here because they won't be expecting it.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see about that. That doesn't seem like that's what their plan is. Snow falls very early here. But the Rhine does get walled off, gets pinned, but as the lamp is up, he's not gonna find anything. Shatter does get thrown, but right into a shield, unfortunately, not finding a lot.
Yeah, so they just need to stall out here for Snow to get back in time.
Yeah, but it seems like Polar Chicken really wants to push in here, really wants to get it done. But Evercrom here, just through the amplification matrix, Fire Strike and just swings. And Lord's pick on all DPC, they're not enough, which just gets rezzed up instantly.
Yeah, and we're just seeing such aggressive players. Even though the Mei wall's up, they are just pushing straight through the choke and winning out that fight out of pure aggression.
Yeah, and Fan Treon there on Baptiste doing a really good job of when someone gets walled off, just jumping over the wall with Baptiste jump and placing his lamp over it so whoever is there does not die.
Absolutely. So now we're going to see the defense, and we're sticking with the same heroes because we have a lot of ultimates on both sides.
Yeah, definitely. We have a shatter from Evercom this time, but all DPC already finding a pick on the Mei, which is really vital to try to hold this. The Grav comes out, the shatter comes out, and even the McCree, and that's just a team kill here.
Yeah, and this is going to let them get a lot of percentage on this point here.
Yeah, I'm not even sure they're going to be able to touch. No, the Mei just gets bursted way too fast.
We are seeing a lot of really quick pushes from both of these teams. When they manage to get all the way, they go really, really far with them.
Yeah, definitely. It went from disaster on attack, TPing right into Mock Player's hammer, to just really fast fights here. With all the PC finding a pick on the Mei very early, stopping, or well, quite frankly, killing what is stopping them from pushing. And at that point, they can just run into them with no Mei wall to stop them. It's just
Absolutely.
yeah.
That was a really unfortunate death there, and you've got to think what could have been done. Could there have been a Zarya bubble? Could there be some healing? Because although the Echo bombs are powerful, they shouldn't be able to one-shot unless someone's not doing something to save that character.
I mean, if they right-click it a bit and shoot the bombs and it's damage boosted, it can just insta-kill like that. And Mei should have her shift at that time, but maybe not expecting the damage burst to come in.
Maybe, yeah. It could have just been hoping that they would survive through the explosion of the bombs, because there's a little bit of a delay before the bombs explode.
Yeah, definitely. If he was like 150 health, maybe thinking, oh, these bombs, only a few bombs hit me, I'm not gonna die. And then the burst coming in. A bit of a misplay there, but hopefully it's not gonna cost them too much here, as now it's Saturn's turn to attack.
And we have the Symmetra coming out for them as well.
Yeah, definitely. Potentially they are not just gonna TP into Verak's hammer. We're gonna see how it's gonna work for them. Seems like
Although it looks like they are.
They are just TPing into them. What is this?
And unfortunately, only 2 people managed to get through that TP before the TP gets destroyed, which is one of the main things about the Sim TP, is as soon as you get a bit of damage on it, it's not got much health, so it will die reasonably quickly.
Yeah, it seems like these teams didn't necessarily get coaching on how they should be played, so I'm just gonna do a quick run. You don't TP into the enemy team, you TP past them or onto the high ground, okay? So they can't just burst you there. It seems like they're doing it again, and this time actually listening to what I said, TPing to the high ground, doing a very good job. But Snow just getting pushed here alone, not taking the TP, might just fall early here, with just no health. Maxime just deciding to go for it.
Yeah, I think Snow was attempting to take an off angle there, which is a good idea some of the time. But when you're playing against this composition where you've got so many beams, which can just kill that Sigma so quickly, it's not what you should be doing.
No, not necessarily, especially since your shift can save you from Maxime just beaming you down.
Which might have been a bit of a misclick from Snow there to try and left shift to grasp the beam of Maxime.
Maybe. But it seems like we're gonna get yet another TP in here, and we're gonna see if this TP is gonna be more successful if everyone takes it. It seems like everyone took it, maybe all being used there to not get spammed out, and now they're all around here. But the problem is you have to make it past this Maywall now. Maywall is being used, Mock player got cut out, but Sam does find a pick on all DPC instead. Mock player charging and finding a pick on the Brig, and it seems like it's gonna go in the favor of Saturn.
Yeah, I think one of the main things there was the Baptiste ult came through just as the Maywall went up, which allows the Maywall to be destroyed almost instantly.
Yeah, definitely.
And
As that Maywall got destroyed so fast, they could just back up and just kill anyone who was trying to punish the Rhine for that mistake.
Exactly, it saved much player's life, the Baptiste ult, not because of the healing, but because you could destroy that wall so quickly. And looks like we're keeping the Symmetra going on to second point of Hanamura here.
Yeah, Lord almost has his sim ult, so we're gonna see how he's gonna use that. Potentially just trying to TP to point here. Yeah, that seems to be the case, or even to the high ground even. But unfortunately, finding a pick onto Sam with no Lucio there, this might be hard. Anthony coming in and just clean up here. Ult charge bleeding on, and sim ult being used here in defecation. Not sure this mail needed to be used here.
No, I think that was a little bit of a reactive mail just to ensure the fight was won. But it definitely didn't need to be done because there was no way they were going to win without the Lucio or their Reinhardt.
Yeah, I really don't think so, but Fireman did have his own mail, so he could have thrown that out. But
absolutely.
Not necessarily a misplay, but just it's gonna cost them a bit in ult economy, but it's a lot better than letting them take second point for free.
For sure, and I think they've got Grav here, they can swing their Reinhardt into it, and they can potentially nano someone as well, which allows them to fight a lot here.
It seems like there's a bit of a split. Mail being used here, trying to take the Evercrumb getting frozen up really fast there. All the PC trying to run in the back contract, one run that McCree, but he gets the back up and Lord finds the pick. Grav is coming up though, but no picks found. Zarya gets Sigma ulted, but also gets now she's gonna live long enough. But Maxime doesn't seem to be able to put in enough damage. Gets frozen up and just gets damage, and you can see all those assists on the McCree kill.
Yeah, there was that is every single person on that team doing something to that kill in order for Valtrix to get that.
Yeah, definitely. You can see their priority. They're just trying to kill Maxime as fast as it possibly can.
And it looks like we might be going for a round of 12 CP here, so strap in and get ready for the rest of the map.
Yeah, definitely. Both teams showing that they can hold first point somewhat, but second point seems to not go that well for the teams. Pretty similar time bank here, but Polar Chicken having almost twice as much time.
Yeah, I think the extra 2 minutes as well is going to make a lot of difference, mainly just for ult economy, because I think we're going to have to see Saturn pushing reasonably quickly, because even if they cap first point, going into second with less than a minute is not ideal, because you can't build up many ultimates. Whereas having 4 minutes to build up ults on your attack, that is a huge deal for 2CP.
Yeah, definitely. Do you expect some sim shenanigans coming out to an attack again?
I mean, after how they went last time, I hope not. But I think it looks like Lord has some better teleport placement, at least, than we saw coming out from our PC.
Yeah, definitely. After the first failed TP going onto the high ground, really paying off for just the Sigma getting cut off, unfortunately. But we're gonna see potentially a Genji here, I'm not too sure about that. Now we're gonna see the TP coming out again.
Yeah, so we're seeing the same kind of comps as we saw last time. And it looks like a lot of the defense are hiding on point, waiting for that Sim TP to come.
Yeah, definitely. Instead of a Zen here, we have an Ana and Baptiste on the defending team. A TP on the high ground, but Mock player falls off, just getting pushed on here. But the wall does not find anything, unfortunately. They're just gonna have to back up the point.
If that wall had come through, that probably would have been a pick, but unfortunately not, and the wall's still on cooldown here.
Yeah, definitely, so they can just walk in on point. The wall was being used there, but it does not split anyone off. Rather than the contrary, Mock player getting walled off here. They're pushing in. Finding these picks, Lord finds the first pick on Maxime, which is one of the carry damage dealers for Polar.
I think one of the mistakes of the defense there is they started to walk around the point and get attacked by the sim turrets, and once you got 3 of them hitting you, there's no way you can move. You're too slow.
Yeah, definitely. And finishing the map here with 1 minute remaining, that's gonna be 1 minute 30 seconds, I think? Yeah, 1 minute 30 seconds. So they actually have time to make it to the next point. They do have the ult advantage here, but we're gonna see how they're gonna use it here. Potentially trying to TP to that high ground again.
Yeah, so potentially a high ground TP. Honestly, I was expecting a coast TP, but they have the Shadow and they have the Baptiste here to give them a lot of advantage in this fight.
They're TPing onto the high ground again. They don't have McCree ult to punish them for it this time. But Mock player already in here. With a huge shot there from Evercrum here. And McCree ult is coming out there, finding 4 picks and 5 kills in total.
Yeah, so we've seen both teams use McCree ults for zoning, but that one was so beautiful in order to just destroy the enemy team and stop that attack immediately.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not a lot of ult charge to be gained from that because the entire enemy team got killed by it. So you're just trading 1 ult for winning the fight. But to be honest, that's not too bad when the enemy team now only has 1 fight to try to win.
Yeah, and the enemy team only has 1 ultimate coming to this, potentially getting the Sigma ult late in this fight.
Yeah, definitely. Lamp being thrown out there, Nanobus and Evercrown just trying to burst the Mock player who is antied and low health. But both supports here from Polar, sitting on the high ground, can't really be touched. And seems like they're just gonna get melted and not able to get a single tick on second point.
And we saw Maxime there getting their revenge on Lord, ensuring that Lord couldn't get their sim beam charged up all the way, which is crucial because as soon as that sim has their beam charged fully, they will out-damage that Zarya.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're not going to see 12 CP here, as long as the attacking side, they have 4 minutes now to get 1 tick onto second point.
Yeah, definitely. So we're gonna hopefully not see any TP shenanigans again. Maybe they learned from their mistakes, saw how Lord used his teleport, and use it against them. Similar to how we saw Pharah being used on Numbani. But it's just a matter of seeing and finding out.
But I think the defense here, they could afford to... Oh, they can't afford, sorry, to waste anything. They have to be so perfect because all the attacking side needs is two 1 fights, and that is game over.
Yeah, potentially 2-1 fights here, if they pull it off really well. If they're very sloppy with how they win fights, they might be able to get staggers in, and even though they win 2 fights, they might just lose the one after that, and they might be able to just recontest on first point here. So it's gonna have to be winning fights, and it's gonna be have to be really clean winning fights too.
And don't forget, if Polar Chickens win this, then that is them winning the entire tournament, because this is a best of 5.
Yeah, definitely. But we're
So
gonna see.
we have quite a typical double shield setup here. Although we have the Ashe on the high ground quite far away to get a lot of spam damage in along with this Junkrat.
Yeah, that's really good as they have a Pharah, and Pharah's not really gonna get a lot of space with that Ashe just spamming around. Not gonna be able to take as aggressive angles, you can see. Very conservative angles here, just trying to spam. But Snow just denying that with this shift and with this barrier. Not getting a lot of ult charge.
Although the Ashe did have to take about 10 seconds there to reposition because there were no healers near enough to keep them topped up.
Definitely, but this off angle that the Pharah Mercy is taking can be disaster. Just depends on how they execute it, how they play it.
Absolutely, because Sigma Shield now can't be repositioned as easy. It's not easy to block all this damage coming from the Pharah.
But the Pharah is in the backline now, just spamming them out. They're having to turn around these barriers, and you can see there's just chaos. They have to turn these barriers around, and the Pharah is just already had the barrage just cleans up here.
Absolutely, and now we're going into the final point, and they have almost a 3-minute time back, or just over a 3-minute time back, going into this last point.
Yeah.
And if they get this one tick, that is it. Polar Chickens will be the winner of our Bronze to Diamond tournament at Pachimari Esports.
Yeah, definitely, but it's not over yet. There's still a chance that they can win and then bring it back to the last map. But that still has to happen. Mock player on Winston for whatever reason here against the Pharah. We've seen Mock player being but as I said, that Snow just killing outright Pharah here. Potentially the Mercy's gonna go for a rest here, or maybe not actually. As the amplification matrix is being used over it, denying it.
I think after those 2 kills come through as the attacking team, you know you've got time. You can just build up your ultimates and slowly win these fights.
Yeah, it seems like Saturn want to force the fight to them. They don't want to let them set up. They don't want the Pharah to get a lot of time to spam them out. They want to just force these fights with the Monkey. Just absolutely jumping in with a bubble and forcing all the attention.
And I think that's the absolutely right decision.
Yeah, definitely. Tire coming out to try to buy time. We're gonna see if it finds any picks. Unfortunately not, Valtrix quickly disposes of that. The Shatter coming out here. Finding people but not finding any kills unfortunately here. McCree is being used here. Not finding anything. Enchant is being used here to try to win this fight. Mock player in the backline. Can use his primal if needed. Jumps in, but he might not even need to use it here. Oh, as the picks are just coming in, but someone is backcapping. But they're trying to just utilize the split focus to try to backcap. That was never meant to be.
Yeah, and this is getting extremely close now, as they only have 1, maybe 2 more pushes and very few ultimates to win with.
Yeah, definitely. Saturn here with ult advantage. They can just, like I have said many times before, they can just cycle through these ults now. They have almost 5 of them up, and they can just use these against Polar Chickens none.
Yeah, the ultimate rotation coming out on the defense is exactly what they need to do. But LDPC swaps over the Hanzo to hopefully try and get an early pick here to allow his team in.
It seems like they haven't realized they're on point. And by the time they realize they're already there, Monkey jumping and trying to add some time. Does have primal. 1 ult has been used so far. Honda trying to spam that, but McCree running in. Splash fan, the hammering eclipse. 2 picks. Grab being used, and the point ticks over as they cannot touch the point due to grab.
Yeah, and that is it. Congratulations to Polar Chickens, who win our tournament, our Bronze to Diamond tournament at Pachimari Esports. That was a beautiful attack, and the grab there really confirmed the win, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And we get a replay here of Volturic's huge McCree ult here, finding 4 picks after his initial pick onto Lord. Absolutely massive.
That was a beautiful play of the game, and I think a beautiful attack from Polar Chickens there. Well played to both teams.
Yeah, definitely. But again, congratulations to Polar Chickens for winning, and also congratulations to Saturn for coming in second place.
Yeah, second place was amazing, and they had a brilliant run through the lower bracket to make it back into these grand finals, and I think that was extremely, extremely well played.
Yeah, seems like one of our productions actually leaked the outcome before the match actually ended. But if you're watching the stream and not reading chat, you would have gotten through this as we did. So we're in a few minutes. We're probably gonna check this poll. We're gonna see who the MVP vote is, and we're probably gonna bring them in for an interviews. Don't forget to stay for that. But
Yeah, and
yeah.
awesome. And we are back, and I want to say a huge congratulations again to the winning team there. They played so well. They didn't lose a single match all the way. And we have Vale with us now, who won MVP of this tournament. So congratulations. How does it feel?
It feels great. Thank you very much. The tournament was a really nice experience, and all of us really enjoyed it.
Oh, that's very good to hear. How
Yeah.
was it playing against the team that you won against earlier, and then coming back and even taking a map off of you guys?
Yeah, so we knew before we played against them in the grand finals that they were the best team we had faced yet. And our first match was kind of close, still a 2-0. But yeah, and then going to finals, they played, I think, quite better than in the first round against us. And especially their May stuff and Onumbani, that's our worst map for us, for our team. And yeah, that's why I think we lost there.
You still played really well on Numbani, though. I want to talk about the Farah switch that happened, though. So was that always planned, the Farah?
Like, we're not a team who makes those huge plans before the game. We're like, yeah, this could work now. They're using this. Let's take a Farah or something. And we are more spontaneous.
It seemed to work really well for you. I've got to say that much, because you seem to be adapting quite a lot.
Yeah, we've been thinking about what could counter them, and we tried our best doing that.
Yeah. Is there any preparations you made for this match, or was it just like any other match?
Some of our mates have looked replays from the last matches, but we a few hours ago, before this tournament, we didn't know who we were facing in the grand finals, so it was kind of hard to prepare for them, and that's why we didn't do that much preparation for this match.
No, that makes complete sense. But I mean, you came into it. It looked like you came into it ready to adapt, like you were saying, which at the end of the day is, I think, really what won you the entire tournament was the fact you could adapt at each stage, and you played so many different compositions. In scrims, were you playing? Did you stick to one comp when you were that you were learning? Did you practice all of these different comps? What was it like to practice for it?
So we have some standard comps that we use on depending on the map we play. But recently we've been trying to learn the meta comp, like ball and stuff, but it hasn't been working out for us well. So we just stick to the heroes we are better at, like Ryan Saria and then some McCree. But yeah, we've been trying to adapt as much as possible, and yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We've also seen bit of a. Are you
Excuse
back?
me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
I'm
problem.
sorry.
Yeah,
What
no
did you
problem.
say?
Well, we've seen you guys pull out a lot of comps, right? And you guys are not really sticking to the meta. Is this something you feel like other teams should do too? Not necessarily sticking to what the meta comp is and just playing what the team is good at, what the individual members are good at, and just becoming really good at it.
So for us, like on our level of play we're going, like our skill, I mean, I think it's better if you just go for those comps on which roles every player is good at, because then you're going to be a better team overall. That's what I think. But if you're playing on top 500 level, then you kind of have to go with the meta, because otherwise the enemies are going to destroy you probably.
Yeah, definitely. That's about it for the questions that we have here. Is there anything you want to say to your friends or anyone else who's watching the stream?
PG.
PG, yes.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to greet my team. It was really, really nice playing with them, and we're gonna keep on going, play more tournaments, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And it was nice having you here.
Yeah, it was really, really, really nice to watch you play, and to watch your team kind of improve throughout the entire tournament. So thank you for playing, and congratulations again for winning and for being MVP of the tournament.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Cool. So that is it from us at Pachimari Esports. I just want to say thank you to the organizers, everyone who's been working behind the scenes. There's too many of you to name. I want to give a big shout out to Mick, who's been this person streaming to Twitch, which is an extremely difficult job, who's also been spectating the entire time whilst managing the stream.
Yeah, definitely. Huge shout out to Mick.
And to everyone else at Pachimari Esports, thank you for watching. We will be working on a compilation video of highlights, so feel free to send in any clips that you want to be in that highlight reel. Feel free to go through Twitch VOD. It should be up for about 2 weeks. And clip anything you want to be on there, send it in, and we can get it up there as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so unless there's anything from you, Rousey?
No, not really. I think that's about it from this tournament. It was fun. It was exciting. A lot of very interesting matches, and with Polar Chicken and Saturn brawling it out in the end here, just like they did early on in the tournament.
Yeah, it was extremely fun to watch. So thank you everyone for watching. We've gained over 300 followers, and we've had a lot of viewers the entire time, and we really appreciate it. And we can't wait to run another tournament, hopefully next month. So please, if you're watching, if you've got a team, feel free to apply. And that's it. Signing off.